news as a Senate hearing on worldwide threats turns into a debate about what's considered classified after a security leak.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe say they would agree to an audit to confirm they weren't involved in any group chats with classified information.
The use of signal message end-to-end encryption applications is permissible and was, in this case, used permissibly.
Trump administration officials taking questions from senators after Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief for The Atlantic, says he was included in a group chat on the app Signal where intelligence officials allegedly discussed airstrike plans in Yemen.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz is on Capitol Hill. Gabbard says no classified material was shared in that chat. There have been reports National Security Advisor Mike Waltz may have mistakenly invited Goldberg to the chat. President Trump calls Waltz a good guy and considers what happened a mistake. The latest indication there are no plans to fire Waltz. Ukraine and Russia agree to a proposed maritime ceasefire after separate talks with the U.S.
Following talks in Saudi Arabia, the Trump administration says both Russia and Ukraine agreed to ensure safe navigation in the Black Sea and eliminate the use of force or prevent commercial vessels. It expands on a limited ceasefire agreed to earlier this month on strikes against energy facilities in Russia and Ukraine. The White House says the U.S. is also helping with prisoner exchanges, the release of civilian detainees, and the return of Ukrainian children forcibly transferred.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House, which also says each side agrees to keep working toward a durable and lasting peace. Consumer confidence falling for a fourth straight month, hitting a 12-year low in the Conference Board's reading amid anxiety about inflation and tariffs. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Only two things in life are certain, death and taxes. How about one more? Switch from Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile to cut your bill in half with Pure Talk. For just $25 a month, you get unlimited talk, text, 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Making the switch, it's simple, fast, and easy. You dial pound 250, you say the keyword Pure Talk, and make the switch. You do it now, you save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, wireless, by Americans, for Americans.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
A very pretty Tuesday afternoon going into the evening, all about sunshine. 69 should do it for the high. Dropping through the 60s for evening plans. Partly cloudy skies, 44. Wednesday, sunny and 64. Thursday, opening day, partly to mostly sunny skies, 70, but some showers, maybe a couple of thunder showers moving in late day, and it will be wet Thursday night. Hopefully we can hold that off. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and almost 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. And if you think this is just a cosmetic problem, think again. Varicose or spider veins, if left untreated, can lead to swollen or discolored legs, cramping, the inability to stand or walk, neuropathy, even worse, blood clots, which can travel to other parts of your body. But here's the good news. Advanced Medical Vein Treatment Centers offers plans that treat and cure the condition, not just cover up. Grab your phone, take down this number, and call 800-587-1272. That's 800-587-1272. When you call, you'll get free information on how you can live your life to the fullest again. Walk, exercise, sleep well. Your vein problems will not go away on their own, and in time can lead to major health issues. Call Advanced Medical Vein today for free information on fast and easy solutions that are covered by most insurance plans, Medicare included. Call 800-587-1272. That's 800-587-1272 today.
Mark Cox here. Get into the college basketball spirit this March by going to the Range St. Louis West. They have their basketball bonus promo all month long. 3 different baskets set up. You have a chance to get big discounts on firearms, suppressors, optics, and more, or win a free private lesson, a discounted membership, or gift cards. Play basketball and get a bonus when you score. Everybody gets 1 shot a day. Members get 2 shots. 1483 Manchester Road in Baldwin, therangestl.com.
When you get hurt, you don't want to end up on the injured list. You want to get back in the game, stronger than ever. At Morgan & Morgan, we're the home run hitters you need. Morgan & Morgan, proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Step outside and fall in love with your backyard again. From inviting porch overhangs to durable composite decks and cozy screen rooms, Lakeside Renovation and Design creates stunning outdoor living spaces designed for relaxation, entertaining, and making memories. With expert craftsmanship and top-quality materials, your new outdoor oasis will be perfect for every season. Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com to get started. Let's turn your backyard into the retreat you've always dreamed of.
Are you looking for an easy way to get a daily detox? Active Liver is available in both a delicious gummy or tablet. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle of your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Mr. President, your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis?
Right.
Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
I think it's one of my favorite things that Trump does when he opens himself up to the press all of the time, the way that he does, that he doesn't BS the BSers. And the BSers, of course, in the room are the media. When he doesn't know something, he just says, I don't know about that. Tell me what you know. And then he reacts in a real way. And his response there is defensive in that he thinks the Atlantic sucks. That's not surprising. Nobody who asked that question should expect him to say something complimentary, honestly, about very many people in the media. He'll even criticize Fox people who he doesn't like as much as others. So he's going to be super critical of the media. He always has been. He might be the president once again because he's been willing to do that. And then secondly, he reminds everybody that the strike was successful. So while he says he doesn't know about this security breach, he does react in a very off-the-cuff type of way to the media. He doesn't push the question away. He doesn't do what Joe Biden would do, which is slowly pan to his left and find a door and shuffle towards it. And then maybe, give a little over the shoulder, Biden, over the shoulder. And that's like what they do on the red carpet,
No, I didn't know that.
You don't know that?
No, that's a thing. Oh, so you stop and you look.
Yeah, if you could on the camera here while people are watching, the celebrities are walking away, and then as they're walking away, they want that money shot. Over the shoulder, Ryan, over. Boom.
Did I hit it?
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, sort of.
Well, I hit the mark.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean people are going to love
That's
it.
all
I
ever think of when Joe Biden's walking out of that room, then he turns around with the creepiest smile that's ever been smiled. Over the shoulder, Joe. Over the shoulder.
He can't quite get over the shoulder, though.
No, he doesn't
does
move that
a
way
full
anymore.
turn.
Yeah. I'm going to a chiropractor right now to regain my full range of motion. And when I see elderly people like that, I'm like, oh, we got to work on this now. We got to get this thing back in motion right now. So, yeah, I believe that was that yesterday? Was that clip from yesterday when that story was initially breaking?
Yes.
And so today there was a hearing on this whole debacle. And our YouTube poll today is on this whole debacle. The YouTube live chat poll is, what should happen after the high-profile info breach on Signal? You've got 3 options today. Nothing, it's no big deal. That's the first one. You wanted an admission and an apology. And if I had more characters available in the YouTube space, I would probably have added in their correction. So basically, we're sorry this was bad. It's never going to happen again. That's your second option. And the third one is firings and resignations, because there's certainly a lot of people, you can probably guess politically who they are, calling for that type of action. It's not a story that, we covered it yesterday. Towards the end of the show, I saw it on Twitter, and I thought to myself, well, this looks like this could be kind of a big story, but it was just from, not to say that if you're an online reporter that you are not credible, but if you see somebody who is, you read X a lot, don't you? You read it a lot more now than you used to.
Yeah.
If I see somebody reporting something on X, and I haven't seen it from any other media place anywhere else, I'm not going to come to you and report it on the air. I am going to be like, ooh, that's very interesting.
Yeah,
read all the comments. But before I'm going to go straight to the air with it, I'm going to try to coordinate a few more perspectives, just to acknowledge that the story is a reality in some capacity, and we got to get to the bottom of it. So the natural fallout from anything that's going to be potentially negative spotlight for the Trump administration, you'll see a lot of the Democrats that come out. They're going to talk about what's going on, and it's going to be political.
Do you think someone should be fired over this?
Absolutely. I mean, if I made a mistake like this as a lieutenant, I would be probably not just fired, but probably indicted and tried and maybe in prison. And the idea that, you remember, these guys love talking about merit, right? We hear a lot about this alleged principle that they're hiring people on merit. I think, there's some questions there. I mean, our current Secretary of Defense hadn't shown a lot of evidence of, running a large organization, or let alone running a large organization well. And he got put in charge of the largest organization in the United States of America and the most important organization in the world, which is the U.S. Department of Defense. And if there's not accountability for a screw up like this, especially from a president who used to fire people every day on television for sport, what are we even doing here?
I didn't know that The Apprentice was still in play, but here we are with Pete Buttigieg, the other Pete. They get confused all the time.
I always like hearing from Pete Buttigieg because, to me, he was such an excellent secretary himself that when he comes out and speaks, I really take notice.
I think that including a reporter on this communication string, which is on an encrypted, installed on your computer when you arrive at the CIA, using Signal is not wrong. The fact that these communications were taking place on Signal is not some sort of, oh my gosh, I can't believe they were using Snapchat. That's not what's happening here. Signal was used by the Biden administration. It was used in the Trump first term. It's supposed to be an encrypted app. The people who I know who work in military operations and situations, they use and trust Signal. The problem is that you included a reporter who, my understanding is what is it? Jeffrey Goldberg is the author that was included, that maybe it was supposed to have included a different JG. Whoops.
That's super common.
But should not be happening at this level.
It shouldn't happen, but that's exactly what happened.
So I listened to a lot of the hearings this morning, the intelligence hearings this morning. John Ratcliffe said, yep, that was me on there. So he's verified that this is a conversation that took place. Tulsi Gabbard's like, I can't recall, and I cannot comment. It's under investigation by, I think, some intelligence community. So I don't blame them. I do not want, you've got the smartest of the smart people in your intelligence apparatus in this administration, in John Ratcliffe, Kash Patel, who's the director of the FBI, and Tulsi Gabbard, who is the director of national intelligence. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Is Ratcliffe CIA? What was he? I think he's CIA.
I think so.
Well, you've got all these people up there. I do not want those people to be up there spilling their guts. That's a bad
on
sign.
Camera.
No. I mean, and they're going to go have a hearing in addition to this public hearing that was taking place. They repeatedly refer to, in a confidential setting, in a classified setting, I can answer this question. And when they said that, everybody was like, okay. And then they just moved on. It wasn't ever like, no, answer the question. I think very strongly that you want to see those people go up there and be discreet. So while in a public hearing, you're like, oh, you answered the American people. You're like, this was supposed to be a hearing about threats to our country. Intelligence threats to our country. That's what the hearing was for. And then we gummed it up on a Signal group chat gone wild, gone wrong, the day before this hearing was supposed to happen, because was this hearing not scheduled? This hearing was scheduled before yesterday afternoon, so it was on the books. You got to be thinking they were like, oh, crap.
Oh, man.
The
I thought we were
timing,
talking about China.
Timing was not good. So there was some of that discussion taking place, but then, of course, everything is going into the people who are on the group chat are sitting right there in front of you. Naturally, they're going to ask those questions. I think this looks really bad. I think it was a really stupid mistake. I think that if the country's security intelligence people are going to be using Signal, they need to have like a super secret version of Signal that only allows approved members of the intelligence committee or community to even be on the thread. I think it's a mistake. And have I not been saying, specifically more in the vein of the Doge cuts, that if you cut something and a month later you're like, that was terrible, we should not have cut that, you need to put it back in. And you need to say, these things are going to happen. We're doing difficult things. We made a mistake. And you need to put it back the way it's supposed to be. I really think that you have to admit your mistake, but then we've created a climate here where the things that if you come out and apologize for something, what the Democrats want politically is anything to hang their hat on. So if you apologize for this, are you admitting something that is going to give the Democrats political collateral? Maybe, but you screwed up. So I think you need to say, yes, this was a mistake. The fact that this was even possible is an identification of a significant intelligence and security problem that we have in our government, and we have corrected it by, I don't know, smart people, figure out how to correct it and fill in the blank there. I think the fact that this even exists as a possibility of some sort of info breach, and my understanding is that we've seen the full conversation. Yesterday we were discussing the full conversation, and I was saying personally how impeccable their grammar and written word skills were. Like if the word your was used, they spelled it Y-O-U-R and not just U-R.
Mm-hmm. It's true. As this broke yesterday, the first thought that I had is the same thought that I went through last night and this morning thinking is, I've done that. You go to text a few people and you add, I get it done to me all the time. There's another Ryan that works here. I get messages for that Ryan pretty regularly.
I think it's a mistake. I think that it's problematic, and I think it's one that can easily be corrected. And we can be grateful that nobody was. Here's going to be the great irony of this whole thing, and I want you everybody lock in here and think about this for a second. It was a successful operation. The culmination of what happened with the discussion that was leaked because of their own mistakes, we think, to a less than friendly author and journalist. It's not like Brett Baer accidentally got stuck in this group chat. When you have Jeffrey Goldberg on it, I don't really see the possibility that this is intentional. The outcome of what they were discussing was not a failure. Nobody died because of it. There was compromised security, and they got lucky and nothing bad happened because of it. Can we go back for a second and watch the people who will come out of the woodwork to you right now and shake their fists at the sky and say they are putting our country in danger, they're putting our military in danger, they don't know what they're doing, they're inexperienced, and this is a problem and they should be fired. How did those people react under Hillary Clinton's State Department when in the Benghazi attack, when we lost an ambassador? How did they react then? Do they care about Hillary Clinton's emails that she wiped clean? Or if you bring up Hillary's emails, will they really quick in their chat, just getting on their Twitter account and be like, they're talking about Hillary's emails again? That's what they're going to say. Hillary's emails, those two words, are some sort of high-level talking point to discredit anything that the Republicans might ever have to say, where they raise their hand and they go, well, this security breach was a problem then, but you guys didn't care. You didn't act. You didn't push. You didn't criticize. You didn't call for firings and resignations. And people died. Our ambassador died. Go to Afghanistan. Look at how we exited Afghanistan with people clinging to the airplanes as they lifted off the runway and they fell to their certain death. Joe Biden's administration, they still bragged about that being one of their great accomplishments in the campaign leading up to try to win re-election in November. They didn't know what they were doing. And if they did know what they were doing and it resulted in those deaths, that's even worse. The truth of the matter is people make mistakes and people also nefariously try to manipulate situations. I think we need to figure out which one this is. I think we need to figure out if there was a system in place that caused this mistake to be too simple to make. And we need to be able to point at it and identify and say, that's bad. We better never let that happen again. And then you implement things that keep that from ever happening again. But the people who look at this and try to explain to you that Americans were put in a situation of peril because of this, without identifying, okay, yeah, it was a mistake. Like, this is one of those situations where the problem first and the solution second lies somewhere in the middle. This is not Republicans are perfect and they never make mistakes. And this is not Republicans are completely and totally reprehensible and they never make any right decisions. This is somewhere in the middle, just like every other human being that has ever walked the face of the planet. There needs to be an admission and there needs to be a correction. I don't honestly even need an apology because to me, if it was identified what the correction was, that would be admission. And that's what I need. I need the country to be safe. I need the men and women who sign up to wear the uniform to carry out these types of activities based on the decisions of the Department of Defense and the Commander-in-Chief. I need them to be safe and protected above all else. And if something happened and we were lucky that it didn't hurt us, we still need to be able to identify that there was a mistake that was made. You don't have to say that we were discussing war plans in an open-air forum because that's not exactly what was happening. But I also don't think it was nothing. You get to weigh in as well on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. What should happen after the high-profile info breach on Signal? Nothing. It's no big deal. You want admission and an apology, or you want firings and resignation? Which one of those do you think needs to happen here? When we come back, we're going to speak with Mark Krikorian. What's Mark going to talk to us about, Brad, when we come back?
Well, there have been some new polling out from The Economist, and people are very excited about Trump and ICE and what they're doing.
All right. Well, we'll talk to the Center for Immigration Studies, Mark Krikorian, when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com. There might be a seat left. I haven't heard that they are completely sold out, but at this point, they're always pretty close. The event this evening at 314-993-9494, 314-993-9494. The event this evening is about protecting your retirement, and it's free. and maybe you weren't sure if you were going to be free for this time frame, and you are. So call them and see if there is a spot available for you if you'd like to come. The event begins at 6:30 p.m. I get there at about 6 o'clock. Going to be hustling back from my daughter's track meet, and my son's got a baseball game, and I'm going to come back and see you all at the Frontenac Hilton. So I hope it's a room full of folks, and you get to sit there and listen for not very long. They don't suck up all your evening, maybe 45 minutes, to Bob and Tammy Kershaw, Thomas Helbig, explain to you how they can help you protect your retirement when you are making that transition. If this interests you, reserve your spot for tonight at the Frontenac Hilton, 314-993-9494, 314-993-9494, or look them up online at retirementkey.com.
99 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors for savvy homeowners. Since 1926, they are the only authorized dealer of Overhead Door brand products in the city. Always look for the iconic red ribbon to be sure you're dealing with the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. For same-day garage door repair 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis or schedule online overheaddoorstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
The Budweiser First Pitch Breakfast, sponsored by Budweiser, is Thursday, March 27th, and features an unfiltered conversation with Cardinals Hall of Famer Vince Coleman. Your ticket includes a delicious breakfast buffet, bottomless mimosas, Bloody Marys, and an ice-cold Budweiser. Plus, you'll get 2 free tickets to Saturday's Cards-Twins game. Get 20% off your table now by using the code KMOX. Everything you need is at KMOX.com/events.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at GSLHonorFlight.org. And for HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 FM Talk presents Talk in Action, where we shine a spotlight on local charities making a difference in our community. Join us as we give back and connect neighbors in need. Visit 971talk.com/talkinaction to learn more. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
One case, it was a child rape. He was released 2 years ago without honor our detainer. It took us 2 years to find this person. So how many children did he attack in the last 2 years? All we're asking for is let our agents in the jail where you lock somebody up and let us arrest them there when you're done with them rather than release them back in the public and making a public safety issue out of it.
So Tom Homan there talking about probably sanctuary cities, sanctuary state status, the states and the cities that have detached their local law enforcement from being able to communicate with ICE to make sure that if people are here and they're not supposed to be and they're committing crimes, that ICE can then take over and handle it from there. I live across the river in Illinois. We are a sanctuary state, and we constantly hear J.B. Pritzker, our governor, talk about how he wants to protect all of Illinois' residents. He says residents for a reason. Does J.B. Pritzker think he's on the right side of this issue, the popular side of this issue? Well, we've got Mark Krikorian here with us now to talk about a recent poll that is out that suggests maybe he isn't. The executive director of the Center for Immigration Studies, Mark Krikorian. Thanks for being with us today. It's a pleasure to have you back.
Well, thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about this poll in The Economist here that's really surveying the American public's thoughts on this issue after, we've seen deportations. We know that there are flights leaving the country with gang members on them. It's becoming a big news story. How do Americans feel about it today?
Well, this is a poll by The Economist, so this is not some right-wing thing. I mean, these guys are kind of, globalist, center-left organizations. So what they found was that they asked a whole bunch of different questions, but the interesting thing was there was approval for the president's handling of immigration. He was above water, as they say. In other words, he was there was more approval than disapproval of his handling of immigration. An interesting question they asked was about ICE. Do you think ICE should be expanded or not? And it was overwhelming majority of the respondents said, yes, ICE should be expanded. So much for the abolish ICE type of thing. You know what I mean? That movement. So clearly the president's following through on the things that he promised during the campaign is, still working for people. People haven't turned against it even though the media is always, desperately trying to come up with sob stories.
Yeah.
Basically trying to guilt Americans into having an open border because, some guy goes to church even though he's an illegal alien or something like that. And it doesn't seem to be working so far anyway.
I think it's really interesting that the above water status still applies right now because even going back to Donald Trump's first campaign, he has advocated for border security, building the wall. It was racist to say that during the first term. By the end of the second campaign against Kamala Harris, she was advocating to build the wall as well. So even she had moved to the Common Sense Center on that issue. But the messaging on the issue of border security, but also nefarious people in this country who were let in, it's been super tight. There has not been any wavering. There hasn't been any softening. And I would almost argue that with Tom Homan on the loose, who I absolutely adore the way he talks about this issue, he fearlessly advocates for ripping the bad guys back out of this country. What do you think about the media's lack of success in trying to soften Americans on this issue, even in the midst of a winning message that won Donald Trump and this administration, the campaign?
Well, I think part of the reason the public is approving of this and isn't responding to the sob stories is precisely that President Trump was not in office for 4 years, and the public got to see what that means. In other words, the left got their, ideal immigration policy, or pretty close to it, under Biden, because President Biden obviously was basically not checked in. They appointed people to run immigration, and they were open borders activists. Those are the people. And so they just got to, they had free run to do whatever they wanted. The public got to see what the Democrats' immigration policy really is and what the consequences of it are. And because of that, there's just a whole lot less appetite to fall for these sob stories. A lot of people are saying, look, okay, maybe this guy calls his mother every Sunday, but enough's enough. We have got to regain control. And the fact that the Trump people succeeded in locking down the border in days. I mean, the job isn't done, but they ended the border crisis almost overnight because it wasn't caused by climate change. It wasn't caused by poverty. It was caused by the Biden administration's policies. Change the policies, totally change the situation on the ground.
Mark, this is Ryan. What do you think about the pace of deportations? I've seen some figures that say that, man, it's going to take a really mean pace to stick, not mean on purpose there, but you really got to keep the pedal to the metal to keep up with the amount of illegals that came in the last 4 years. What do you think about the pace so far?
Yeah, well, one of the reasons that, the president himself and Tom Homan have both said, they're not satisfied, the numbers aren't high enough. One of the reasons for that is precisely because they've been going after the worst of the worst at first. They call it the worst first policy is the way they've actually described it. And that's, obviously everybody wants rapists and murderers out of the country, but it's labor intensive. That takes, you got 5 agents to go and get one guy. When they ramp up work site enforcement, in other words, they're going after, construction sites or warehouses or whatever that have lots of illegal aliens and they have intel about what's going on in there, then the same 5 agents find 20 or 30 or 40 illegal aliens, and the numbers will start going up. So some of it is just a function of what they're prioritizing first. But obviously, yes, we want, there needs to be higher numbers of people removed. It's going to be hard to totally undo what the Biden people did. I mean, they let in probably either consciously or because they weren't patrolling the border. There were like probably 10 million illegal aliens who got into the country. That's going to be hard to unwind.
Yeah. You do have to start somewhere, and the Trump administration has been fearless in being willing to take that on. Mark Krikorian speaking with us right now, the executive director of the Center for Immigration Studies. I wanted to ask you your thoughts, Mark, about the Mahmoud Khalil situation, the Columbia University graduate that was very publicly, like a very public situation surrounding his removal. He's here on Columbia University campus. He's advocating really straight up for Hamas and the things that Hamas is doing in the face of students who want to attend this university that they are very lawfully and appropriately trying to attend classes. They've paid their tuition and everything. How did that subject, that particular individual, the arrest or the detainment by the State Department, the potential removal of his visa and all that, how does that factor into swaying the American public on the people who are here and their right to be here and then appropriate our constitutional rights?
Yeah, I actually think the administration is obviously frustrated that the removal of this Hamas guy from Columbia University is, slower than they would want it to be. I get all of that. I share that. On the other hand, I got to say, I think it might be useful for the public to see this is what the immigration lawyers and the left have constructed, is they've constructed a system where it's difficult even to deport a non-citizen. Remember, the guy's not an American, who is a, America-hating, Jew-hating Hamas spokesman. And I think that's useful in the sense that the administration gets to say, look, we need to change the rules to make it easier. Congress needs to change the rules to make it easier to get guys like this out of the country. We've got too many protections for aliens. There need to be some, because there are going to be times, the wrong person gets picked up or whatever, and that kind of thing happens. So you can't just say, okay, anybody ICE picks up, they get to deport no matter what, no matter who it is. But there's just too many protections, too many hurdles, and it needs to be thinned out. It needs to be pruned. And this case actually may be politically useful in showing what happens if you don't prune the rules and cut them back some to make it easier to get rid of dirtbags like this.
Well said. Mark Krikorian, the last question I want to ask you, it's kind of a broad one, just your ideology on this, but the Democrats have worked for decades, I would say, to rearrange our thoughts as a public on, what is America and who deserves America. Because if you listen to what the left says, a lot of times they would turn it so inside out, they'd be like, Americans deserve America because America sucks. I mean, that's kind of the way that you've seen the far left, progressive left go out there and try to tear down what this country is. But at the same time, the same party is out there saying America is for everybody. Everybody should be welcome here. We're a country of immigrants. It seems as though that's not holding the water it did anymore. Do you think that the Democrats will be able to repackage and repurpose their messaging on this that is, as you point out in the Economist poll here, losing to try to salvage some of the immigrants, the potentially 10 million people who they've let into this country?
Well, I think it would be better for the country if the Democrats moved more to the center on immigration, and I think they will eventually, but they're going to have to get beaten electorally a few more times before they change. You're probably too young to remember this, but remember late 60s, early 70s, the Democrat Party was way out in la-la land. You know, George McGovern and all the rest of that. And they had to be wiped out in 3 presidential elections before Bill Clinton came along and said, you know, let's start being a little more normal. They're just at the beginning of that process, and they're way crazier than they were in the 60s. They're way crazier now. Nobody in the 60s was talking about, you know, cutting pieces off of little boys and girls and all that nonsense, all that trans stuff. So, yes, I think the Democrats will eventually have to move to the center, but I think they're going to have to get spanked by the voters several more times before we see that happening.
Well, thank you for your insight today on this issue, Mark. We appreciate your time. We look forward to having you back again.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. The executive director of Center for Immigration Studies, Mark Krikorian, and, you know, talking about the fact that this Economist poll, which he points out, not exactly like a right-leaning rag of sorts, is saying, yeah, people are still kind of in favor of this. The majority of people are. I just think it's very interesting that this issue, Ryan, is one that Republicans have doubled down and tripled down on. If they've moved at all in this issue, they've become sharper and, you know, more pointed to say, these bad guys got to go. He called him Khalil dirtbag. And I thought, that's what he is. He's a dirtbag.
Yeah, this is funny because it showcases the two sides of the Democrat Party. Again, you have the progressive wing that's all about let's protect the illegal immigrants, even if they're criminals right now, and they're getting in ISIS way, and they're making videos out of it. And then you have really the establishment that's not talking too much about it because they know, this is not where we're winning.
They're not winning at all. That's exactly right. Wiggins America next. What
Yep.
do you got for us?
Yeah, we got ways to increase your energy without caffeine.
I will get my pen and paper out.
You and Brad both. He said the
Definitely
same thing
need
today.
that. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Air Comfort Service is there to guide you through your comfort zone, to make sure that you have it, it's yours, you're secured in it, that you're not paying more for it than you need to be. You ever run your air conditioner over and over and you're like, it is not getting cooler in here? You need to call Air Comfort Service, 314-513-0091. You might need to have your cooling system checked. And Air Comfort Service is there to guide you through that process comfortably. At the end, maybe it's something simple. Maybe you just need to change your air filter. This is probably a good time for you to change your air filter. If you're like, air filter? Just change it. Just go find it and change it. That's been my experience. You don't have to worry about all of those things when you sign up for a preferred plan, becoming a preferred partner with Air Comfort Service. And it's a very easy thing to do. You just pay $19 a month. You get your 12th month free when you pay monthly. You get discounts on service calls, repairs, and equipment. You get priority service. And you can have your routine HVAC system checks 2 times a year. And they call you to remind you to schedule the appointment. $19 a month, and you could avoid very, very costly replacements or repairs in the future. If you're interested, call them at 314-513-0091, 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-MILLION. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
The YouTube live chat poll today is what should happen after the high-profile info breach on Signal. There are a few options there. Nothing, admission, apology, firing, and resignations. Those are your three kind of levels that you could get involved at, and let us know which one you would and which one you'd like to see. By typing in Annie Fry on YouTube, and today's date will come up. That's where you vote. 12:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This Friday, we're inviting you to have some fish with us. It's another Fish Fry Friday on The Mark Reardon Show. This time, we're in Oakville at Queen of All Saints. Visit 971talk.com for info. Fish Fry Fridays, this week in Oakville at Queen of All Saints.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Took a while to get there, but Shining Star, no matter who you are, I love it.
I can't listen to a song like that and not hear the payoff.
Yeah.
I will get in the car on the way home and turn that song on just to complete the circle. I have OCD. I don't have OCD, but those types of things, they bother me.
That's kind of OCD.
Kind of. Yeah. I don't think you can be casual about OCD. I think that's a oxymoron.
You may have figured out how to be casual about it, because that's not a big deal. You got to go listen to the rest of the song.
If I didn't like the song, I wouldn't need to complete the circle.
Yeah, yeah.
But if it's a jam and I kind of like it, and it's like I haven't heard Shining Star in a while.
Well, now that you've brought it up.
And I like the funk behind it.
Do you have to finish a movie once you've started it?
Oh, heck no.
I used to be that way. But anymore,
I don't have to
I'm like,
finish anything once I start
I fall asleep.
Am I tired?
Wasn't that interested in it.
I'm
don't
tired
care
all the time.
anymore.
I never have any energy.
Oh, yeah? Well, I can help with that today. Me and Yahoo.
Oh, yeah?
I've got science-backed tips to boost your energy levels without caffeine.
What luck?
I know. And they're science-backed. So you know it must be true. Are you drinking caffeine? Stop that. You don't have to do that anymore.
Finish the coffee before the end
Not
of the
after Wiggins
hour.
America.
Yeah, that's where I get my biggest jolt of energy.
Number one, ways to
Why are you
boost
talking
your
like
energy
this?
levels. Because
You
I'm
sound
so
like-
excited.
You sound like you're on Barney. We're not hugging.
I'm trying to sound like an infomercial.
Okay, like Barney.
Yeah. Maintaining a balanced diet. This is one thing you need to do more
Stop
often,
it.
Annie.
Stop it. Nobody is going to keep listening to you talk like this.
Maintain a balanced
There you
diet
go.
because it helps with your blood sugar levels.
Yeah.
And that's key to keeping your energy steady throughout the day. This is something I am becoming much better at.
Because you have...
Diabetes.
I dabble with OCD. Ryan dabbles with diabetes.
I do. I dabble. I'm not full blown.
It nicked me. It
Yeah.
nicked me.
Get me in the Achilles heel.
I think that you are diabetic or not diabetic.
No, that's not true. I'm right on the line. Depends on if you're in Europe or America.
What do your
standards.
papers say at the doctor's office?
They say I'm diabetic.
Okay.
But the American standard is a little higher. If I was in Europe,
Usually the American standard is
they'd
a little
say-
lower. That's interesting.
Isn't that? Yeah. If I was in Europe, they'd say, nah, you're actually barely under the line. But I am barely over the line in America, and I think it's because we don't walk as much as they do. But they say that you should have whole fruits and vegetables, both low-calorie options and ones that can deliver healthy fats like avocados, lean proteins, fiber-rich carbohydrates like whole grains, beans, and nuts.
How messed up in the mind is our generation who has grown up with just exponentially increasing information, our access to information over the course of our life in our formative years has just grown and exploded. Everything that you could possibly do or eat or consume or not consume has been absolutely the wrong thing to do and has been absolutely the right thing to do at some point in our life.
Eggs is a great example of that.
Yes.
Over the span
Fats.
of our life,
Yeah.
they have changed whether you should eat eggs at all, how many you should eat, and now they're very good for you again.
Fats,
Yeah.
cholesterols,
Yep.
all these types of things, even like fruits that have sugar in them. Red dye, number 5.
Yeah.
We've been back and forth on that.
They used to say eat as much of it as you can.
Yeah.
Now, they're
Red
like,
like
"I don't know."
a tomato, which is a vegetable, or
Mhm.
is it?
I remember watching an episode of Quantum Leap recently where Sam
Nobody said that.
travels back to his own family. He jumps into his own family. It must have been a later season episode. They were trying to drive ratings by then. And he tells his family, because he's worried about his dad dying eventually, no, you can't eat all this junk for breakfast. And it was like bacon and eggs.
Yeah.
But that was the early 90s, and the dietary suggestions have changed.
And
since
now
then.
they're like, eat as much protein as you can.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the first one, is just really maintain your blood sugar. I've noticed this more than ever, and I'm actually doing a better job at it. I want credit for that. Number 2 is squeeze in more physical activity. It can feel like a catch-22 when you're low on energy. The last thing you want to do is hit the gym, but regular exercise can actually help reduce feelings of fatigue and boost vitality.
That's true.
But this is sort of general. I don't know that you can just, if you feel tired, go exercise. You have to generally be exercising in your life.
No, that's not true.
You really? Because
Oh,
I would
sure.
never prescribe
to the gym?
myself exercise when I'm tired.
When was the last time you went to like a full workout? Because you do aerobics in your basement every day.
In our underground pool.
Underground. Sounds dangerous.
We press a button and the floor opens.
That'd be in ground.
It's underground, though. It's also underground.
That's why nobody in your neighborhood knows you have it.
Right. It's secretive.
Mhm.
It's the bond layer thing.
When was the last time that you went and worked out?
At a gym,
Well, yeah,
or just like out in the field, like picking up hay bales and stuff.
either.
Neither. Yeah, it's been years for both. I do all of my exercising.
I work out
in
my best
basement.
when I do not want to go and I'm super tired and I have to because I have an appointment with Steve and my mom. That's who I work out with. Not this Steve.
You just name drop Steve like we're all supposed to know
No.
who that is.
No, he's my Steve. He's
Your
our
Steve.
Steve.
Oh, your
He's
Steve.
not your Steve.
He's a trainer?
He's not our, yes.
Oh, okay. You said Steve. I didn't know who that was.
Yeah. He
Okay.
trains me at the YMCA.
Okay.
And my mom and I work out, and it's twice a week, and it's lifting. It's like weights one day a week, and it's more mobility and flexibility the other time. Both weights are involved in both, and movement is obviously involved in both, but he has different focuses for each time we work out.
I guess we each have our own Steve in a way.
Yeah.
I have a Steve who stays in the underground pool chamber, and his name is Bev.
He wears a banana hammock.
He feeds on our leftovers. Number 3 is work on stress.
I wish we had a cartoonist. Could somebody draw that picture? I want Ryan working out in his underground pool with Steve, the banana hammock trainer.
Bev. But he's my Steve. That's where you got confused. Work on...
Go on. Come on, be professional here.
Work on stress management. Stress often feels like a double-edged sword. While I can give you a boost of
Can
adrenaline.
Just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Natural question.
Go ahead.
What's your source?
Yahoo.
Yahoo.
And the science.
Bye.
This is...
So far they've said eat better, exercise, and manage your stress.
Yeah, it's... I don't know, a bunch of blog science.
It doesn't
blogs.
matter. It's BuzzFeed. That's what it is.
No, it's not BuzzFeed. I promise it's not BuzzFeed.
Wait a second. This is by Jeffrey Goldberg. This is from the
I thought
Atlantic.
this was Jeff Goldblum. No.
This changes everything.
The careerist.
CareerAddict.com.
Jackie says, sponsored by Pfizer.
No. Absolutely not. Work on stress management because although a boost of adrenaline is nice at times, it can overall kind of keep you up and down, and the downs are down. So you got to work on your stress management to stay more level. Number 4.
If stress is keeping you awake at night or keeping you from getting adequate rest, you can't just be like, you know what? I should keep that in check.
Well, they've never heard this segment before.
Okay, that's true.
It's people who didn't know. They're like, oh.
I kind of feel like I have heard this segment before,
No,
but go on.
Absolutely not. Number 4, this is all original. Number 4, improve sleep hygiene or take a power nap.
Excuse me?
Sleep hygiene is getting enough sleep to maintain your energy levels. So if you're finding yourself constantly tired during the day, it might be a good sign that your sleep quality needs some attention. So they called it sleep hygiene.
I just Googled hygiene because I was calling foul on using that word.
Mm-hmm.
Hygiene definition is conditions or practices conducive to maintaining health and preventing disease, especially through cleanliness.
See? I told you.
Yeah.
I would have said that verbatim if you had asked.
I didn't.
Number 5 is stay hydrated, which I've been doing very well. Thank you. And number 6 is...
You're welcome.
Limit your alcohol intake.
Yeah.
That can hurt you.
Big drinkers in this room.
Yeah, I don't think that hits us very hard, but you can stay more energetic by drinking less overall.
Vicky says, I'm working on my stress level by retiring. LOL. Yeah, I bet.
That'll do it.
I can only imagine what it's like when you wake up in the morning and you go, I don't have to do that anymore.
You just stretch. A bunch of birds and squirrels jump on your shoulders. Just walk outside in your robe.
You're Snow White, so you tell the man, get out of here. I don't need you. I don't need you for this story.
Prince. I'm retired.
Jim Talent in on the next hour here, and Congresswoman Ann Wagner. Don't go away.
It's almost time for baseball's return to St. Louis. Get ready to watch your Cardinals take the field at Busch Stadium. From home runs and fireworks to historic plays and rising stars, there's no better way to catch Cardinals baseball than with thousands of friends, old and new, in the sea of red. Grab your tickets now to join the fun in Cardinals Nation. Visit Cardinals.com for tickets and info. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
There is no better way to enjoy America's favorite pastime than cheering on the Cardinals with your family at Busch Stadium. From the thrill of watching the game to the kid-friendly activities, food, and fun, the ballpark has it all. Make magical memories as you cheer together for every home run, double play, and Cards win. Your family's summer tradition starts here at Busch Stadium. Grab your tickets today at Cardinals.com. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Ouch! Checked from behind. Man, that's gotta hurt. I'd hire Morgan & Morgan if I were them. What? Yeah, Dan, America's largest injury law firm. They serve up justice, ice, cold, law. Know what I mean? I guess. Their gloves come off when they fight for you. Okay. I'm talking a settlement slap shot. Shouldn't we be talking about the game? Yeah, Dan, Morgan & Morgan.
Proud partner of the St. Louis Blues. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks?
What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Worldwide threats. On Lisa Brady, Fox News.
We face an increasingly complex threat environment that is threatening us here at home and our interests abroad.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard leading the annual threats briefing for the first time and telling a Senate panel that non-state criminal groups and terrorists most directly threaten the U.S., along with key nation states.
In this complex environment, non-state and state actors are able to exploit or take advantage of the effects of each other's activities.
She highlights cartels, gangs, and other transnational criminal organizations, as well as China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. But that hearing was dominated by questions about a security leak that has the National Security Advisor under scrutiny.
President Trump is chalking up a journalist being inadvertently included in a national security group chat as a mistake, but says National Security Advisor Mike Waltz is a good guy. It's the latest indication Waltz will not be dismissed or fired after the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg, reported his phone number was added to a chat on Signal with top national security officials messaging about military operations targeting the Houthis in Yemen. Administration officials say the chat did not include war planning, adding the attack earlier this month was a success.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House, the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, says if no classified information was sent to the group chat, then what was included should be shared. President Trump's nominee to lead the Social Security Administration offering reassurance about the president's intent.
He has made protecting and preserving Social Security an important part of his vision.
Frank Bisignano pressed about DOGE cuts to federal agencies, telling senators at his confirmation hearing the president has made clear he has no objective to cut benefits. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Only two things in life are certain, death and taxes. How about one more? Switch from Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile to cut your bill in half with Pure Talk. For just $25 a month, you get unlimited talk, text, 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Making the switch, it's simple, fast, and easy. You dial pound 250, you say the keyword Pure Talk, and make the switch. You do it now, you save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, wireless, by Americans, for Americans.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
A very pretty Tuesday afternoon going into the evening, all about sunshine. 69 should do it for the high. Dropping through the 60s for evening plans. Partly cloudy skies, 44. Wednesday, sunny and 64. Thursday, opening day, partly to mostly sunny skies, 70, but some showers, maybe a couple of thunder showers moving in late day, and it will be wet Thursday night. Hopefully we can hold that off. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
If you're a homeowner, it's time to upgrade your windows with Window World. Mark Cox here. I am a satisfied customer. I love the windows they put in my house, and there's a reason they're ranked number one in the number of windows sold in this country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They have that lifetime warranty. It covers all the parts, the glass breakage, the labor. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And in over 20 years in business, they have improved the look and the thermal efficiency of over 76,000 customers in the greater St. Louis area. Window World is now offering 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. And I think the customer service sets them apart from the rest of their competition. And they have an excellent track record with the Better Business Bureau. They've also raised a lot of money, over $3 million for local and national charities. So be sure and check them out. Call them at 314-993-1800. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. You can also go to windowworld.com. Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
The biggest piano sale of the year is being held at the Muni starting Thursday, April 3rd through Sunday, April 6th. Hi, this is Kathy from Lacefield Music, and every year Lacefield Music supports the Muni by loaning the Yamaha pianos needed for all their coaching, rehearsal, and performance needs. In appreciation, the Muni hosts an annual sale of all the pianos used during the season. In addition to the loan pianos, a huge selection of new and used pianos will be brought to the Muni for you to shop. New Yamaha Grands, Uprights, Clavinovas, and Disclavier player pianos, plus new and used Zyler, Kawai, Baldwin, Roland, and vintage Steinways. All will be offered at rock bottom prices. The event is at the Muni starting April 3rd. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are by appointment only. Sunday is open to the public. Call 314-860-2712 to make an appointment. That's 314-860-2712.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Human trafficking is occurring right here in Missouri. You can help combat it by learning the signs of human trafficking and reporting suspicious activity to law enforcement. Victims may appear malnourished, show signs of mental or physical abuse, or avoid social interaction. If you're a victim or know someone who needs help, contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888 or text the word HELP to Be Free. Together, we can fight human trafficking in Missouri.
Brought to you by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
97.1 FM Talk is proudly supporting the Guns N' Hoses Queen of Hearts raffle, benefiting the St. Louis Backstoppers. Learn more at stlgunsandhoses.com and listen to the Mark Cox Morning Show Fridays at 8:20 for winner announcements.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Many people in the intelligence community use Signal. They have communication all the time. Is that not correct?
Lawrence, that is correct. In fact, I bet a bunch of those senators that you see at the hearing today are using Signal as well to
100%.
speak to each other or to speak to their aides. And it is my understanding that the Biden administration authorized Signal as a means of communication that was consistent with presidential record-keeping requirements for its administration, and that continued into the Trump administration. It's simply another messaging app like the iMessage app on your iPhone or email servers that every administration has set up. in which senior administration officials can communicate with each other.
Senator Tom Cotton speaking about the Signal app that was used by Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard, John Ratcliffe, among others, as they were discussing an attack that was going to take place on the Houthis. We talked about this a little bit yesterday in the show while the story was breaking. But the question is, how did they have this conversation and accidentally put Jeffrey Goldberg, who is a writer for The Atlantic, how's he get on there? And what kind of security threat is this? They had a hearing today on Capitol Hill that was supposed to be discussing threats to the United States, and it turned into largely a conversation about this group chat and the debacle that it has become. So let's talk to Senator Jim Talent about it. He is a former congressman and United States Senator from Missouri, of course, and chairman of the Reagan Institute's National Leadership Council. Senator, thank you for coming back on with us. It's good to have you.
Glad to be here, Annie.
So when you heard about this story as it was kind of unfolding, what were some natural questions that you have? And with a little less than 24 hours of information now that we have, what do you think about how this story has developed?
Yeah, well, this shows the importance of waiting to suspend judgment until you, or suspending judgment until you get more information. So the questions I had were the ones that Senator Cotton just addressed, which is Signal authorized for government purposes and under what circumstances? Evidently it is. All I knew about it is that it is considered to be a secure app for civilian, normal purposes, and people use it all the time. I didn't know whether it was considered to be secure for certain kinds of communications. Evidently it is, and I read an article. I didn't watch the hearing. They're saying that there was no classified information that was sent over the chat, which is obviously important as well. So what we're now going to have is an investigation. I guess if Goldberg, has the chats and kept copies of it, the Senate Intelligence Committee is going to be very interested. I also agree with wholeheartedly with something President Trump said. He said, Mike Waltz has learned a lesson, and he's a good man. And I agree with both half of those sentences of that sentence. Mike, I know. I always call him Congressman Waltz. He's a very good man. He's doing a very good job, and he's learned a very important lesson, hasn't he? You got to be careful with what you're talking about.
So I think that there are several things that come into play here, at least for me, as somebody who pays a lot of attention to headlines, but of course politics is always kind of the patina on everything. There is what happened and what needs to be addressed for the future, but then of course there's a political fallout. And you need to manage one more than the other, and you're going to have to just brace yourself for the politics that might surround this. The Democrats don't have a lot right now that they can really, a strong place to plant their flag. This might end up being it, at least for the time being. This was a mistake, right? On the people who are in charge. There's no way around saying this was a mistake.
Yeah, it was a screw up. I mean, at minimum, adding Goldberg to this, the fact that it's permissible to use Signal doesn't necessarily mean that you should put things on it that you would be embarrassed if if the outside world found out about. I mean, I had a rule just with email and anything, which I tried to follow, which was I'm not going to put anything in writing that I'd be too embarrassed about if it became public. So what I expect, they're going to do an investigation. They're going to clarify what the facts are. I think probably the president will tell them, well, I'd like to know what you're going to do to make certain this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
And then we're going to move on. Now, one of the things you want to be careful about, first of all, let me say the Democrats have every right to go after this. They're the opposition party. It's what I would expect them to do. It's what the Republicans would do if the shoe was on the other foot. So, let's not crime them for doing this. It's their job, and it's also, as you say, politically advisable for them to do it. Now, what you don't want if you're the administration is for your top executive time, in other words, for your cabinet secretaries, the key officials, to be obsessed with this instead of dealing with Ukraine and Gaza and what we're going to do about building a national security architecture to deal with China and the national industrial defense base and all of that thing. And I'm sure the president is doing that. He's going to cabin this off so that it's investigated properly, but he's going to say we got to keep doing our jobs. So that would be a concern of mine, regardless of what administration got involved in something like this.
Do you think, we heard Senator Cotton saying there that the Biden administration had authorized the use of Signal as an app for communication. And I think I heard reports as well that the Trump administration did it in the first term. To me, you got to be able to communicate somehow. It doesn't make sense that you'd only be handwriting letters that you hope nobody would see as they're being passed between parties to communicate these things. We live in a much faster paced environment than that. So you have to communicate digitally somehow. Do you think that are there other ways for them to communicate outside of this type of an app that would allow them to have, up to the second communications with one another about things like this?
Yeah.
And Signal should be put away, or they need to just improve Signal and the usage and function of it?
Well, I mean, evidently, if the CIA authorizes the use of Signal for work purposes, provided this is what Ratcliffe testified to, that the agency allows it for work purposes, provided that any decisions are also recorded in official channels so they can be preserved according to the law. Well, if the agency is allowing it, then I guess this must be pretty secure, right? I mean, this is the CIA we're talking about if that's their official policy. Now, if Mike Waltz called me up and said, well, what should we do going forward? I think what I'd say to him was, well, use this for setting up meetings. Use this for providing, information about where you're going to talk about these subjects under difference personally or over a secure phone, for example, unless it's a crisis and you don't have any choice. In other words, if the vice president is over in Europe and he has to know something and you can't get to the scramble phone or whatever they call it today, or the SIPRNet, the very secure email, then you might have to do something like this to say, hey, we need you on a call, and this is the subject, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So I think they'll probably refine their protocols in terms of what particular subjects are addressed. But you're right. I mean, we live in an internet age. You have to be able to communicate quickly about some things. And so you do the best you can with this, and you keep refining the technique over time. But yeah, I mean, it's just obviously not being careful enough that you don't add a reporter, and he obviously has some of this.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
Yeah.
Although I would imagine it would be quite a surprise for you if somebody added Annie Fry to one of these things.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead if you have to. I just peek around the corner a little bit. I'm thinking too about your comments regarding Trump's comments about Mike Waltz as a good man. It wasn't just. I just am continuously impressed at the Trump administration's willingness and adherence to doing what they think is right as opposed to what they think is politically expedient in the very current moment. I want to know your thoughts on appointed and elected officials making mistakes. I mean, the campaign that they carried out against the Houthis was a successful one. So, they're fortunate in that sense that it didn't cause, something really terrible to end up happening because of the communications that were leaked. But do we have room for our officials to be making mistakes like this? And what's the proper response in a civilized society?
Yeah, see, my answer, I actually did an interview on this yesterday. I think the people I was talking to were a little bit surprised, that I said basically what you just said. Look, mistakes are going to happen. This is not something that, if I'm running the show, this is not something that I end a career over or roast somebody in oil over, especially since, as you say, there evidently was no practical harm done. I make certain I see how, how regretful they are. I mean, if they're insisting to me, well, I didn't make any mistakes in judgment. If it's Waltz, then I'm saying, wait a minute, But if they indicate, yeah, look, I know I really screwed up, then I say to them, okay, I want to know what you're going to do to prevent this from happening again in the future. Now, one good takeaway from this, though, and I've been saying this for years, is this ought to cause all the higher-ups to ask themselves how fair it is to come down hard on a corporal or a petty officer who inadvertently reveals information that happens to be classified but isn't that important. You know, they court-martial people, things like that. And we ought to show a little grace to them because this is a mistake anybody can make. But as I said, you know, you're right. The politics of this are very bad for the administration. They're going to get attacked, of course. And the Republicans have done their share of going after Democrats who, you know, reveal sensitive information. So, but again, we don't even know now. Evidently, there's a question whether any of this was classified.
Yes.
Which obviously moves it into a different category.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the details, we'll find out more. It has been about 24 hours since this has been public. So when we find out more of those details, they'll color in some of the picture for us. Last question I have for you. You're speaking with Senator Jim Talent on the Annie Frey Show. I am curious if you have any thoughts on Jeffrey Goldberg, the unknowing party that was added to this chat. He is a journalist. He writes for The Atlantic. He went public with what he heard. I mean, he had a story thrown right into his lap. I keep hearing people say he was reading this chat while he was sitting in the parking lot at the grocery store. Does he have any sort of duty to be quiet on this at all, or what he disclosed, was that an important part of being a journalist?
Yeah, this is more your profession than mine. But I mean, my gut reaction was if he didn't reveal, and eventually at this point he hasn't, didn't reveal anything that could compromise a security interest, then as a reporter, he's got to report it.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he was a friend of the administration, which he's clearly not, that he needs to follow up unless he's got a good reason from a journalist or, you know, professional standpoint not to, which would not be that it would embarrass people, whether I like them or don't like them. I mean, isn't that the job of the journalist, is they always say to speak truth to power. So I don't have a problem with him doing this. I just wish he had been consistent about it and done it to the people in office that, you know, that were his friends.
Yes.
I've always said, Annie, you know, when you get a Republican president, the press all of a sudden becomes adversarial. Well, the problem isn't that they're adversarial to the politicians they oppose. It's that they're not adversarial with the politicians they support. That's their job. And it's really important. You know, this is something really worth talking about at length. If you know, and I've been in this position, if you know that the press is never going to ask you a hard question, you get very sloppy, you don't think as critically about your own positions, and it really hurts you over time. And this is the position the Biden administration was in.
You know,
look what they got away with because they knew the press was not going to ask them the hard questions.
That's so true. And, you know, if Senator Talent, if your journalistic integrity is based on advocating for the American people, then it shouldn't matter who's in office. The should always be there to make sure that the American people are protected, as they are the highest hand in our government system. And if you're advocating for a political party, then obviously your animus is going to shift based on who is in power. And I think that that's a real strong indicator. You're so right to point that out, that the political swing of those in power should not affect the way the reporting is actually done. And right now we certainly have a system that is set up to do that.
And you hurt your friends when you do that because they get very sloppy. As I said, if you've ever seen a politician, usually on the left, who is asked a hard question and then is completely stumped, it's because they didn't prepare. And sometimes they don't have an answer for the first difficult question you would get asked. I mean, when I did interviews, I used to tell the staff after I get briefed, I would say, look, what's the hardest question they're going to ask me? Which makes me think through what I believe, why I believe it, how I'm going to communicate. But if you know you're not going to get asked a hard question, well, you just say, I'll pick up the phone and do the interview. And you get sloppy over time.
Yes, that's so very on point. Senator Talent, thank you for the time today. We always get wonderful feedback when you're on with us. Thank you for coming back. We appreciate you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Former United States Senator from Missouri, Jim Talent, former Congressman, Chairman of the Reagan Institute's National Leadership Council. You can follow him on X at Jim Talent. When we come back, Congresswoman Ann Wagner, going to have her back on the show. It's been a while since she has been on with us. I'm going to ask her about her thoughts on the people who were testifying, Tulsi Gabbard, John Ratcliffe, Kash Patel, among others, at that intelligence hearing today. We're going to discuss that with her, and we're also going to ask her about a very, very important contract that has come to Missouri That F-47 is going to be made here. Let's get to the details of that intelligence hearing today and see what she can tell us about the F-47. We'll be right back with Congresswoman Ann Wagner next.
Look around your world, pretty baby. Is it everything you hope?
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Look into your heart, pretty baby. Is it aching with some nameless need?
IGotFloor.com is the website. If you're shopping for flooring and you want to know what Michael's Flooring Outlet has to offer you, you can start that process online right now at your desk computer. You're bored, you're tired, you've run out of energy, and you didn't listen to Wiggins America earlier to figure out how to get better energy. So you're shopping for flooring. I understand that. You want to peruse the different options that are available to you. IGotFloor.com. You want to request an estimate because you're like, good grief, how much is this going to cost? IGotFloor.com. If you want to read the reviews of other customers who have shopped at Michael's Flooring Outlet just to get a bigger picture, take somebody else's word other than mine about where you should make your next flooring purchase, IGotFloor.com. You can also find the addresses to the 3 different locations for this family-owned and operated flooring company that has been very successful in making sure that you have a place to go where you can commit to quality and value with your hard-earned dollar. The best customer service in the business. It's Michael's Flooring Outlet. You can find them online right now at IGotFloor.com.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one who lives with you. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care, helping you with preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid instantly. It's all through Medicaid, and as a St. Louis resident, it's 100% free to you. New to Medicaid, the Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 7,000 5-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. If you live in the St. Louis area, this service is free to you through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers can choose to get paid instantly. So go to freedomcare.com or call 314-697-4912. 314-697-4912. That's 314-697-4912.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Time to schedule your air conditioner service. Get your entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the preferred partner plan and be ready for the first heat wave. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
J. Peter Zane, how in the world can some people think that AOC and Bernie Sanders should be the standard bearer moving forward?
Because those are the voices of the 10% that run the party. This is what they think and believe.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
I had a bad week, spent the evening pretending it wasn't that deep. You could see in my eyes that it was taking over. I guess I was just blind and caught up in the moment. You know you take all of my stress right down. Help me get it off my chest and out into the ether with the rest of this mess that just keeps us
So that we're
depressed.
clear, one of the first things that happened when I was confirmed as CIA director was Signal was loaded onto my computer at the CIA, as it is for most CIA officers. One of the things that I was briefed on very early, Senator, was by the CIA records management folks about the use of Signal as a permissible work use. It is. That is a practice that preceded the current administration.
That is the CIA Director Ratcliffe talking about how Signal was installed onto his computer. It was an understood way to communicate. And of course, we have a situation now where it was an inappropriate addition to this group chat. They were discussing certain things about an attack on the Houthis. And here we are. Let's get to our next guest. Very excited to have Congresswoman Ann Wagner on. She represents the 2nd District of Missouri. You can check her out at wagner.house.gov. She also serves on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Congresswoman, thank you for coming back with us. It's great to have you here.
Annie, it's great to be on your show this afternoon. Thank you for hosting.
You bet. I want to ask you real quick about your thoughts on today's intelligence hearing, because I know there are some other things we want to get to here, but it was interesting to sit and watch. Kind of feels like that they made a mistake in this communication. Where do you think this story is going to go, and what are your concerns?
Well, and you know, we've got a worldwide threat intelligence committee hearing tomorrow, too, in the House. So Sissy, which is the Senate counterpart, went today. We will go tomorrow with our hearing. So I'm sure that the Dems are going to demagogue this to death. To be honest, I mean, we are, I do sit on the Intel Committee. I know that Armed Services Committee is going to be doing investigations. The National Security Council is. I'm going to, reserve kind of my judgment until after the facts come in. We'll gather those, and we've also been in touch with what is our key interlocutor in this arena, which is ODNI, which is run by Tulsi Gabbard. But you know what, Annie? Here's what I do know, okay? I know the Houthis are dead. Our U.S. military did their job. They got back safely. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what really matters. So there you go.
I appreciate that sentiment because I think that there is an opportunity for lessons to be learned here without the very, sad, tragic outcome that the Democrats are, in many cases, from what I'm hearing, pretending did happen. Like we actually were able to carry out the mission. Yes. Nobody was harmed. We can learn the lessons and move on. Do you expect there to be action taken to be more secure in the way that these individuals communicate?
Probably. I will say this. I have used Signal before, but usually it's when I'm traveling overseas on congressional business. Here's what Signal does. It encrypts things, all right, but I would not consider it a classified platform. It can be hacked. So you prefer to have those kinds of what I've considered sensitive conversations in a SCIF or in some kind of secure classified setting or transmission. So, like I said, mistakes, they said, be owned up to the mistake. Lessons learned, I hope. There probably, as I said, will be some further investigation and hopefully some good comes from it in terms of making sure the protocols are clear across what we call the IC, which is the intelligence community. You have to be careful with sensitive information out there. But Houthis are dead. We did our mission. The military got back safely, and to me, that's the bottom line, and that's what I think the American public cares most about.
Congresswoman Ann Wagner speaking with us right now, of course, the representative for the 2nd District of Missouri. Something that people here locally in your district care deeply about is the new information regarding the F-47 fighter jet.
Yes.
This is so exciting. I don't know if you know this, Congresswoman, but I flew with the Blue Angels last year, and now I understand planes a little bit more. And when I went to the air show that was out in Chesterfield and seeing the magnificence of what our Air Force is able to do, and now we have, what is it, a 6th generation fighter, F-47 being built right here in St. Louis, Missouri.
It is. This is we call it the 6th generation. It's a stealth fighter jet, and it literally is the next generation of air dominance. This is going to replace just about everything going forward. I'm so proud of Boeing. It was a sigh of relief. We've been working on this for some time. They beat out Lockheed Martin. They beat out Northrop Grumman, and what this is going to mean for our greater St. Louis region, not just our nation's security here, okay, and because we've got to be able to compete with China and others, but the local economy, we're going to begin at $20 billion, but the lifetime of this project, Annie, it'll be hundreds of billions of dollars. And I'm so thankful to President Trump for his leadership and trusting the hardworking men and women in our great state to build this aircraft. It's literally the most advanced stealth fighter in the world, and we're leading the way here. And also, it's not just what this does for Boeing. It's what it does for our full defense industrial base, which we have a large scale of in that St. Louis metro area that make I always say the widget that goes on the wing of the whatchamacallit. And this time it'll be the F-47 named after our President Trump.
Yeah.
The 47th president.
I heard him say when he announced this, I think he was in the Oval Office maybe when this came out, he said that the Air Force determined the name F-47. I think he was trying to be humble, as President Trump is known to be from time to time. Can you confirm or deny that F-47 idea came from the Air Force and not the?
I will concur with the president on all footing here, but I don't know here. I just maybe the Air Force was just being smart, And I too have been up. I was up in an F-16, and it is quite a thrill. I got to ask Annie, did you keep everything down, my friend?
I did every maneuver when I was in the F-18. It was Blue Angel number 7, which I think some people don't even know exists because there's 6 in the show. But the 7th plane is a 2-seater where they basically toss people like me around up in the air. And I made it through every maneuver they do in the show without throwing up. But the last one, which was a Cobra maneuver of some sort, I did not. Well, I finished it, but then I was toast. So it was a challenge, that's for sure.
Well, it's magnificent, and was a once in a lifetime opportunity that I had when I was a United States ambassador. And I'm just and this was an F-16 that I was up in, so it's exciting. I'm thrilled for our region, and this is going to really, in terms of our national security and going toe to toe with the Chinese. And other adversaries out there. This is key. So we're thrilled about that, and it kind of segues into some of the hearings that we'll be having, especially tomorrow with the worldwide threats hearing. I don't know whether you know this or not, but I was just honored that the speaker put me on the Intelligence Committee, and there are probably 13 Republicans and 10 Democrats, so it's a small group. I spent 6 hours in a skiff yesterday. I feel like I used to not be able to sleep at night because I was old, but now it's because I know too much. So, but we're going to have a hearing tomorrow, and I'm going to lead, and this is going to have Tulsi Gabbard, Ratcliffe, Kash Patel, General Cruz from the DIA, and I think we're going to have the NSA there also. So we do one open hearing a year, and then we will then go into closed session. We have closed hearings just about every week, and we will take this group too tomorrow into a closed session. But I'm going to lead off talking about probably the greatest threat to our national security, which is China. And I'm going to be asking certainly our CIA director Ratcliffe about this and our threat to the U.S. and then I'm going to move into my exciting new subcommittee, which is called OSINT. It's called the Open Source Intelligence Committee. It's a new discipline. It's growing. I always say. Most people they think of a discipline, an intelligence discipline as a traditional spy, and that's called HUMIT. And then they think of things like geospatial intelligence and satellites and mapping, and that's called GeoNet. Well, this is OSINT, which is open source, and it's a different kind. We are able to take public and commercially available information and as I said, exploding area, whether it's social media platforms, whether it's consumer data, press clips, you name it, and you aggregate it, you analyze it, and then it becomes actionable intelligence. And we're going to stand this up for the first time in Congress as an actual intelligence discipline, and I'm going to be talking about this. 25% of the president's daily brief consists of open source intelligence. So I'll be talking about issues of everything from privacy rights to how we wisely spend your tax dollars, because there's some redundancy in this too. So I imagine the Democrats will be going off on the demagoguing, as I said, the Signal group chat. But I'm going to stick to the facts and all the worldwide threats that we are facing, both in an open hearing and closed.
Just to clarify what you just said there, this open hearing happens once a year?
In the House.
In
Correct,
the House?
It does.
So
yes.
So we're going to be able to watch tomorrow and see you've got this one opportunity to ask these individuals about threats to the country. I'm curious, and there's no way to know until you will know what happens, the difference between what the Democrats express publicly with the time that they have to share with the American people in open hearing forum, what their focus will be then versus do they shift their focus dramatically in a closed hearing when the public can't see the song and dance? I'd be interested to ask you that question later down the road.
You know what? And I'd be happy to answer that because I will say this. I'm new to this committee, and in our closed hearings, it's the gotcha moments and the clickbait stuff. It's just all off the table. I mean, to be honest, it's I wouldn't even say it's bipartisan. It's kind of nonpartisan and very serious information that is being shared with us. We have oversight, the House Intelligence Committee, over 18 different agencies, and I have been out visiting a number of them. I even went over to the SCIF over in Scott Air Force Base last week when I was back in the district and got a full-on briefing from them dealing with open source intelligence and the other intelligence community partners that play into this. So I'm trying to stand up this new subcommittee. It's an honor I'm the only one in the Missouri delegation and frankly in the Midwest that is actually on the Intelligence Committee. And so it's a big responsibility along with the work that I do in capital markets and the financial services committee. So we had a huge cap markets hearing today that I think is still winding down now, and I chair capital markets, and this is where it all happens. This is about making sure retail investors are treated fairly, to save for the future. We're making sure that our companies can go public, and that small businesses and entrepreneurs have opportunities to grow their businesses and create new jobs. So I do whatever I can to cut red tape, to fight back against the SEC, to make sure that a small business, just a regular old retail investors, got access, choice at the right cost. I introduced about 36 Republican bills today in this capital formation space. I think the Dems had 4. Many of mine are bipartisan. And what's really great, Annie, is I also had the privilege of chairing capital markets last Congress. Now we've got a Republican Senate, and I'm going to team up with Senator Tim Scott and the Senate Banking Committee, and we're going to make these things law this time, which is going to cut the red tape and the bureaucracy and all the hoops they have to go through, but also incentivize growing our economy for everybody, from just the everyday investor to big companies going public. So I'm looking. That second hearing was today, and we'll move to markup, I hope, right after Easter. And I'm going to get these to the floor as fast as I possibly can. So a lot going on. I just ran back. I have to also mention, if you have time.
Sure.
I hurried back from the floor because we just voted to repeal 2 of the Biden energy regulations on your refrigerators and your freezers.
Hooray!
So guess what? There you go.
There you go. For the people, Ann Wagner is. Absolutely. As long as you're there and you're fighting to protect the American people from over-bloated and over-restricting government, we are supporting it. Ann Wagner, thank you so much for the time today. Congratulations to Missouri and your advocacy for that, for getting that F-47 fighter here in St. Louis at Boeing. It's quite a great thing coming here into your district, and we are grateful for your time today to talk about it.
Thank you. Anytime. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. Congresswoman Ann Wagner, she's a 2nd District representative there in the House, and we haven't talked to her for a while, so that was great. That F-47, man, I'm more into planes than I used to be, which used to be not. So the idea that if we go back and we watch, I've watched Maverick. Maverick is a movie, Top Gun Maverick is a movie that we will put on. If we are sitting around and we don't know what to watch, we watch Maverick.
Wow.
The whole family. It's fantastic. And it's good every time. But those are Super Hornets that they're flying in. And it's just wild to watch them do what they're doing and know that I got to experience that. I still can't believe I said yes to it. But then when I went to the air show last year, never had been to an air show before, mostly to go watch the Blue Angels because that's what I knew at that point. But to be able to see like the Raptor and all of these different things that they have and watch what they do, I don't understand it. Like, I don't believe my eyes when I watch what these airplanes are able to do, and having a stealth fighter, the F-47, right here in St. Louis, Missouri, and listening to Congresswoman Ann Wagner talking there about the economy boost that this is going to be to the region. It's pretty exciting.
When you watch Maverick, do you constantly point at the screen and make the kids say, "That's like mommy"?
No, they constantly point at the screen and say, "That's like mommy," and I say, "Stop."
I question that.
You know me so well.
You kids, you say it. You say your lines. That's what I picture you doing.
Thanks. Weird fantasy.
Now, when you put it in that, put it like that.
Yeah,
it
I'm going to
does
bake
sound
you back
weird.
down.
Yeah, you win.
What should happen after the high-profile info breach on Signal? Nothing. It's no big deal. You want an admission and an apology, and I'm going to throw in there on the air a correction. Or you want firings and resignations. I am curious if admission and apology will beat the 50% margin here and see how firings and resignations shakes out compared to nothing. It's no big deal. I think that the obvious answer here is admission and apology. That's what I think. And I think the partisan answers are nothing is no big deal and firings and resignation. But I don't know where you all are, and this is why we ask you these questions on YouTube, because we get to every single day take the temperature of the audience out there here on the Annie Fry Show, 97.1 FM Talk. So please go vote. Tell us what you think. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'd love to have you there. You can join the chat, or you can just kind of gawk and look and watch the chat happen while the show happens. We'll take anything. But the poll is in the live chat of today's live YouTube broadcast. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage wants you to understand how valuable the bagel loan is, and so he has tapped me to tell it to you, but then I ended up listening to him, and I got a bagel loan myself. Twice. 2 times I refinanced my mortgage using the bagel loan with Stewie because the deal is just that smart. It's that good. And I did it maybe 2 to 3 years apart from one another. Bought our home in 2015, and as I was talking about the bagel loan and what it means and refinancing, because you can use the bagel loan and pay $0 in closing costs for your new home purchase with your new mortgage, or you can refinance your mortgage using the bagel loan and still pay $0 in closing costs. Well, when I think I almost ended up cutting my mortgage rate in half over the 2 times that I did it. I paid no dollars at all to go refinance it because there were no closing costs, which usually end up being punitive towards the actual purpose of a refinance to save money over time. Stewie helped me do that, and he can help you as well. Reach out to him calling or texting at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can Google the bagel loan for more information, NMLS number 226715.
Setting goals for your retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, listen to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Guys, it's time to take charge of your health with my friends at Victory Men's Health. Mark Cox here. I already love what they do at Victory. They do hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, even vitamin deficiencies. Now they're offering specialty cardiovascular testing and even early detection cancer screening. Visit them at one of their 4 great locations, now in Sunset Hills, Town and Country, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to victorymenshealth.com.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Who has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis? Is the Post-Dispatch Window Retailer of the Year, J.D. Power Award winner 5 years in a row, and has the nation's best warranty coverage? Renewal by Andersen, that's who. Find out about our huge 31-day sale at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. rbastl.com or 314-332-1924. Renewal by Andersen, a better way to a better window.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. Injured by a careless driver? We work with the top doctors in St. Louis. We'll help you get the expert medical care you need and the maximum amount of money you deserve. Call 314-500-5000.
The poll today is what should happen after the high-profile info breach on Signal? Nothing, it's no big deal. Or B, admission and apology, or C, firings and resignations. Those are your options today for the YouTube live chat poll. Find it by typing in Annie Fry on YouTube, and today's date will come up along with the live stream, which you can watch. 1:48. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This Friday, we're inviting you to have some fish with us. It's another Fish Fry Friday on The Mark Reardon Show. This time we're in Oakville at Queen of All Saints. Visit 971talk.com for info. Fish Fry Fridays, this week in Oakville at Queen of All Saints.
This is The Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Jolene, 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 Jolene. Oh, I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him even though you can.
Miley Cyrus really is a very incredibly talented singer. Unique voice. Very, very talented. She started off as Hannah Montana, and then she ended up swinging on a wrecking ball naked or something. And now she seems like she's kind of on the other side. Like, I think that her image is that she has kind of grown out of some of that. But she's still incredibly talented as a singer.
I don't disagree with you. I just don't like her voice.
Yeah.
Never have.
It's unique.
Yeah, it is.
If you either like it or you don't.
Yeah.
I just think she does remakes of songs, and I'm always like, I think that might be better than the original.
I admit, that's a good remake.
Yeah.
That Jolene remake is very good.
The YouTube live chat poll for today, what should happen after the high-profile info breach on Signal? You've got 3 options on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@AnnieFry, F-R-E-Y. First one is nothing, it's no big deal. Second one is an admission and an apology. I'm adding into that the course of action would obviously include correction. And then the last one is firings and resignations. I think I've pretty much made myself clear here. I think admission and apology is the obvious answer here. I don't think that we need to redo like a third or a fourth of our cabinet because this happened. I do want to get to the bottom of it. I would like to know how it happened and how it's not going to happen again, and then kind of move on. What do you think?
I'm caught right between nothing and admission and apology. I think I'll go admission and apology simply because I want to see them go, yeah, this was dumb, which it's almost like a given that it was, and then move on. The solution to this is so easy, which is be more careful. To me, that's why I'm almost like nothing.
I said this, votes are coming in right now, and I'm watching the numbers come in, that I think admission and apology is the obvious answer. If you're voting firings and resignations, I bet you've been to a Democrat protest.
You're almost all the way
If
in.
you've said nothing, it's no big deal, I bet you own a MAGA hat.
Maybe.
And I've done both of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But not as emphatically as others.
I will say this about this entire topic. When it broke yesterday, I thought we would not hear about it again because it just didn't seem like much to me. But the fact that it kept going all night and then we had the hearings today.
No, I thought it was going to be any misstep. It's amazing that it's been 2+ months before there has been a misstep with this administration, that the leftist media and, it's just like all the positives that come from you're the media now. If you've got an X platform or whatever the Democrat version of that is, if you've got TikTok, you can get a message out pretty quickly and you don't have to go through the usual channels. So the media can't manipulate things as much as possible, but they can throw a little it can throw a little gasoline on the fire, of course, if they want it to. They need something. They're starving for something that will show that the Trump administration isn't perfect. That's only offensive to people who thought that the Trump administration was perfect.
Yeah, that's
and I
true.
just don't hold humans in that high regard.
The hearing this morning was odd because you were watching, like, this is clearly a mistake. I don't know that anybody's going, yeah, that was fine. It's clearly a mistake. Okay, established. But then you watch the Democrats, just like you said, overplay their hand on it and go full outrage. I was watching John Ossoff, the Democrat senator from Georgia, just with the look of like disdain. Like this was the
Ossoff
worst
was
thing.
the worst. I only listened to it. I didn't see him.
Oh, it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life. He can't believe.
It's the best thing he's ever seen in his life
loves
because
it.
he gets to go up there and act like a self-righteous jerk and smack him around a little bit. Vicky said, I don't own a MAGA anything, but I voted nothing. And Quick Rick says, no Democrat protest for me, Annie Fry. I just feel the gravity of this kind of breach shows a careless disregard for the protocol. I think it might have been more careless than it needed to be. So I don't necessarily disagree with Rick. And Vicky, I'll send you a MAGA hat. Brad, what do you think? Just kidding.
I'm of the mindset that I think that where Ryan's in between nothing and an apology, I'm more in between admission and apology and firings or resignations. But I don't think it should be anybody like high level. To me, I believe.
You mean a fall guy?
Well, not necessarily a fall guy,
but producer.
A producer.
You got a show host who's
Yeah.
running her mouth, and it's like, we got to fire someone.
Yeah, she said something
Send him
really
on.
offensive.
Brad
Ethan's
or Ryan,
fired.
come here.
Yeah.
First one in wins.
But I mean, somebody's got to be responsible for creating that group chat, and if somebody's creating the group chat, that person needs to be, if not, I don't know, maybe fired is the wrong word, but maybe removed from that
Publicly
position.
humiliated?
No, they don't even have to do that. We've found the person responsible. They've been removed and reassigned, or they have resigned their position or whatever. But But all in all, I think it's an admission and apology is what I would vote.
Put him in the stocks. Give him a public spanking in the town square.
A spanking.
That's what I'm advocating for.
I don't know.
That's not on. That's not on the sheet.
Is that a public spanking from the left or the right? I think they're different.
Yeah.
They take turns.
Which let them choose and then give them the other one. Andrea says, I do own a MAGA hat. Hot pink also. No big deal this one time. If something like this happens again, then swift action, of course. It's kind of a rational comment from the MAGA hat wearing Andrea. I think I like it.
Well, thank you, Andrea.
Sounds like she's got an extra hat for maybe Vicky.
You guys should exchange addresses.
Publicly.
Yes.
On Signal.
Make sure you invite Jeffrey Goldberg.
I've seen people in the chat suggesting that maybe somebody entered the wrong phone number and it just happened to be an author from the Atlantic. That didn't happen.
I think that it was you went to get somebody named Jeff
JG.
and you hit the wrong one. That's how that happens.
Oops. That should never happen again.
No.
And they should say it's never going to happen again. And then I'm kind of like, moving on. We got
Okay.
the Houthis. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Anywho, 2 o'clock hour right around the corner. Make sure you get your vote in. And subscribe to the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We need you. We'll be right back.
Jolene,
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and almost 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. And if you think this is just a cosmetic problem, think again. Varicose or spider veins, if left untreated, can lead to swollen or discolored legs, cramping, the inability to stand or walk, neuropathy, even worse, blood clots, which can travel to other parts of your body. But here's the good news. Advanced Medical Vein Treatment Centers offers plans that treat and cure the condition, not just cover up. Grab your phone, take down this number, and call 800-587-1272. That's 800-587-1272. When you call, you'll get free information on how you can live your life to the fullest again. Walk, exercise, sleep well. Your vein problems will not go away on their own, and in time can lead to major health issues. Call Advanced Medical Vein today for free information on fast and easy solutions that are covered by most insurance plans, Medicare included. Call 800-587-1272. That's 800-587-1272 today.
Hey, Jimmy Fallon here with a quick listening tip for you. If you miss Fox Across America or any of your other Fox News favorites, do not worry. I got you covered. You can stream previously aired shows with Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app. So if you're busy work days, it doesn't mean you have to miss out on the news. Listen to your Fox shows on your time with Odyssey. To get started, just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio. That's Odyssey, A-U-D-A-C-Y. I'm spelling it out in case you're a little slow like me.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Faces more questions about a security leak. Lisa Brady, Fox News, after who was part of a group chat.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard telling senators no sensitive information was shared on a Signal app group chat where Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief for The Atlantic, says he was included, and top Trump administration intelligence officials discussed airstrike plans in Yemen. But top Senate Intelligence Committee Democrat Mark Warner was frustrated with the lack of answers.
There was no classified material that was shared in that.
So then
Signal
if there was no
chat.
classified material, share it with the committee.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says President Trump continues to have confidence in his national security team.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. A review continues. The Trump nominee to lead the Social Security Administration gets a grilling on potential cuts, with Democratic senators, including New Hampshire's Maggie Hassan, raising concern about government efficiency targets.
Are you going to throw 1/3 of the people off of the program or cut their benefits by 1/3?
Neither.
Frank Bisignano telling senators protecting and preserving Social Security is an important part of the president's vision. A different Senate panel holds a confirmation hearing for Mike Huckabee, the former Arkansas governor tapped to be U.S. ambassador to Israel.
Huckabee, in opening remarks to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, talked about the deadly Hamas attack on Israel in 2023.
The impact of that massacre continues to this very day.
He said to the committee being the ambassador would not be a platform for his political views. He would serve only to represent the president in the post. But Huckabee was interrupted several times by pro-Palestinian protesters in the room.
Would be the grace and
Huckabee did at one time advocate for Israel annexing the West Bank, but said he would not push that policy today.
Fox's Gernal Scott. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Only two things in life are certain, death and taxes. How about one more? Switch from Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile to cut your bill in half with Pure Talk. For just $25 a month, you get unlimited talk, text, 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Making the switch, it's simple, fast, and easy. You dial pound 250, you say the keyword Pure Talk, and make the switch. You do it now, you save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, wireless, by Americans, for Americans.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
A very pretty Tuesday afternoon going into the evening, all about sunshine. 69 should do it for the high. Dropping through the 60s for evening plans. Partly cloudy skies, 44. Wednesday, sunny and 64. Thursday, opening day, partly to mostly sunny skies, 70, but some showers, maybe a couple of thunder showers moving in late day, and it will be wet Thursday night. Hopefully we can hold that off. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, March 25th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and worried about market volatility and losses at this stage in your life? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you are 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you are 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, Tuesday, March 25th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Are you looking for an easy way to get a daily detox? Active Liver is available in both a delicious gummy or tablet. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle of your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Mark Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Well, welcome back. We're glad to have you here. So the big story of the day, of course, is that Signal Exchange. That's an app that is used to communicate via encrypted messages. Here's the thing, and I feel like I should have highlighted this earlier, and I didn't. But people are talking about Signal, this app that you use to communicate in an encrypted fashion, and Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard and Ratcliffe and other J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, they're all on this message chain, right? And they're talking about, in an incredibly respectful way that gives us a peek behind the curtain as to how these things are discussed. Granted, I don't know that we need to have that peek behind the curtain, per se, especially before the attack actually happens. Obviously, there's a problem there. This isn't about Signal, per se. It's about the fact that somebody, we assume, inadvertently added Jeffrey Goldberg, a reporter for The Atlantic, to the chat. So you could get invited into a group chat just because your name or your contact is involved in something. Steve Hilton was on Outnumbered earlier today, and he knows a lot about Signal, I suppose, or something. And he said that they absolutely will be able to determine how his number got added to this.
That's good to know.
If it hasn't been, I haven't seen a report that suggests the answer to that question. But it's not, this is user error.
Yeah.
As far as we know, it's not like somebody hacked in. The guy at The Atlantic was not trying to get access to information. So in that case, it's not like the bad guys that we're communicating so carelessly that the bad guys can just nefariously access our information.
Yeah, that is important to point out, too. The other thing about the peek behind the curtain is that upon reading those texts, it looked like there was a very, very strong discussion between them. They were on the same page. They had suggestions. Each one kind of took them in the right way.
Yeah.
And then said, look, I think we got the green light on this. Let's elevate it to POTUS or something like that in there. Basically, it looked like that's exactly what should be going on behind the scenes.
So you get the but just because anecdotally the mistake was made didn't have the most dire consequences doesn't mean that the mistake is no big deal. You still have to address the mistake. So right now there's a cabinet meeting taking place at the White House, and we want to listen into what President Trump has to say. I think Mike Waltz is going to speak a little bit here. Brad, let's fire it up and
to the United States
listen into that.
Questions. Money that's going to these two public news outlets, if they're successful, I know Senator Kennedy has backed it, Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress has backed it, would you be interested in defunding and taking away taxpayer dollars to NPR and PBS?
Well, I would love to do that. I think it's very unfair. It's been very biased, the whole group. I mean, a whole group of them. And frankly, there's plenty. Look at all the media you have right now. There's plenty of coverage. I was from a different age, and they spend more money than any other network of its type ever conceived. So the kind of money that's being wasted, and it's a very biased view, you know that better than anybody. And I'd be honored to see it end. We're well covered. Look at all the people that we have here today. We're well covered, and we don't need it, and it's a waste of money. Especially, I don't even know what Doge's recommendation is. I assume their recommendation is to close them up.
Well, after they hear all the testimony, I think they're going to make a decision relatively sooner than later.
Yeah.
But we'll see what that turns out.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't, because they have found so much waste, fraud, and abuse. Hundreds of billions of dollars, and just waste, fraud, abuse. You heard yesterday some of the new things that were found. 22 billion just in environment. Billion. You know, if you had 22 million, Warren, it would be nice, but 22 billion put into environmental accounts. One was 2 billion into one account, Stacey Abrams, where they had $100 in the account. And just before I came in, they put $2 billion. And you guys are looking, so you mean 2 million or maybe 200,000? No, $2 billion were put in the account. What do you think of that, Mike? Do you think that's a straight deal? $2 billion?
Just write me the check, Mr. President. I'll take me to Israel.
It's a horrible thing, and we have so many of those things. So they've done an incredible job, and the country wants to hear it. I think Doge is actually very popular because of what's happening. They're hearing about all of these scams and for big, big money, tremendous amount. And when you add it up, just hundreds of billions of dollars being wasted. and much of it's fraud. You know, we talk about waste, and it is waste and abuse, but a lot of it's fraud
Can I
too.
follow up on something?
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I just want to follow up on that. If Planned Parenthood is defunded, would you look into the harvesting of baby organs that they've done throughout the years and maybe go after some criminal prosecution on that?
Well, I think you're talking about a subject that is a heated subject, and we'll look into it. We're going to look into everything, but that's certainly a subject that's been debated for a long time, and we will look into it, yeah.
Mr. President, some senators have expressed hope that the White House will support a rescission package to codify some of the DOJ cuts into law. Where does the White House stand on that? And are you making progress?
Which package?
A rescission package to codify some of the DOJ cuts into law.
You know what? It would be great. I think we're going to do that. I think they're going to do it. I think we're also going to be codifying a lot of the executive orders that we've done, which have been very popular. And we're looking at one, I will tell you right now, that I think perhaps will be controversial, but not with the people, and that's sanctuary cities. We're going to end sanctuary cities for some of these jurisdictions that aren't cooperating with law enforcement. They're guarding criminals. They're taking the rights away from the citizens of this state and their city. And we're going to be ending sanctuary cities if we find it necessary to do in certain major areas. And we may just end the entire thing altogether because it's just a way of protecting criminals. And nobody else is benefited by that. And for some reason, Democrats want to keep and they want to shield criminals from being sent back to their countries or being sent to prison. And in the meantime, the crime rate has gone through the roof. Under Biden, it was through the roof. It's starting to come down, but we're taking a lot of people out of here. A question I've been asked now, and I've given a few answers, and they've all been the same. We have an amazing group. Our national security now is stronger than it's ever been. We have had a very, very successful, numerous attacks on that area. These are people that shoot down ships, not only our ships, ships all over the world. They're shooting down right out of the water and damaging them badly, or they're going down. They're also shooting anything that happens to be flying in the area. We hit them very, very hard. There was no classified information, as I understand it. They used a app, if you want to call it an app, that a lot of people use, a lot of people in government use, a lot of people in the media use. And I think I'll ask Mike. Mike is here. Do you want to respond to that, please?
Yes, Mr. President. You asked about lessons. I think there's a lot of the lessons. There's a lot of journalists in this city who have made big names for themselves, making up lies about this president, whether it's the Russia hoax or making up lies about Gold Star families. And this one in particular, I've never met, don't know, never communicated with, and we are looking into and reviewing how the heck he got into this room. But I'll tell you what, the world owes President Trump a favor. Under Biden, global shipping was shut down. Pinprick attacks, months between them, our destroyers being fired upon dozens of times. President Trump took decisive action with his national security team, took out the head missileer, knocked out missiles, knocked out headquarters, knocked out communication sites. And for once, as we hear, as you all hear from every one of our allies, thank God for American leadership again. Thank God for American strength. You're welcome. We had a national security team that was coordinating these efforts. As Director Radcliffe testified today, his first day on the job, he was introduced to this app on his government systems at the CIA and at the State Department and otherwise. So, look, this journalist, Mr. President, wants the world talking about more hoaxes and this kind of nonsense rather than the freedom that you're enabling. And a key part of our sovereignty is open sea lanes and knocking the crap out of terrorists, which is exactly what your team and Pete Hegseth, a good friend and fellow veteran, is leading the charge on, and it's an honor.
We had a very, very successful, we had a very, very successful evening, and we've had numerous successful evenings and days in that area. The Houthis are absolutely on the run. The worst of them has been killed. This should have been done a long time ago by Biden, but Biden was an incompetent president. He couldn't do anything. He didn't know where he was going. He had no clue. This guy had no clue. This should have been done a long time ago. As they shoot missiles at ships, randomly shoot missiles at ships, and they make their own missiles. You know, this is not an incompetent group of people. They make their own missiles. They get the missiles also from Iran. It's an offshoot of Iran, another offshoot. You have Hamas, you have Hezbollah, you have the Houthis. You got a lot of stuff going on with Iran. And we sent a letter to Iran. You're going to have to be speaking to us one way or the other pretty soon because we can't let this happen. But that's an app that a lot of people use. And somebody got on. I mean, happened to know the guy's a total sleazebag. The Atlantic is a failed magazine. Does very, very poorly. Nobody gives a damn about it. This gives it a little bit of a shot. And I will tell you this, that they've made up more stories. And they're just a failing magazine. The public understands that. He's a very good man. That man is a very good man right there that you criticize so strongly. He's a very good man, and he will continue to do a good job. In addition to him, we had very good people in that meeting, and those people have done a very, very effective job, and you're going to see it. And it goes on, by the way. It's going to go on. And I think the Houthis wish that it didn't happen, but that's what it's all about. We have to create a safe country, a safe world, and that's what we're doing.
Do you worry that national security was put at risk, Mr. President?
Of senior officials using signal.
Do I plan to ban who?
The use of signal to communicate from senior officials.
Well, I don't know I don't know anything about signal. I wasn't involved in this, but I just heard about it. And I hear it's used by a lot of groups. It's used by the media a lot. It's used by a lot of the military, and I think successfully. But sometimes somebody can get onto those things. That's one of the prices you pay when you're not sitting in the Situation Room with no phones on, which is always the best, frankly. But the best is to be there. In fact, oftentimes I've been in fact, just last week I was in the Situation Room on something very important. And we had a couple of people hooked up by line, and I said, cancel the line. Sorry, fellas, what you do is we'll tell you all about the meeting, because I know people do get on those lines, whether it's Signal or anything else. Yeah.
So are you going to change any procedures as a result of this?
Well, I mean, look, we look at everything, and, they've made a big deal out of this because we've had 2 perfect months. We are bringing in business. We have another one announced tomorrow, a big one, very big. Like in the history of our country, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I think probably a lot of people are saying they started by saying it was the greatest first month that a president has ever had, and I think that's true. And now they say it's the best second month, and they had to find something. And this certainly will look at this. But the main thing was nothing happened. The attack was totally successful. It was, I guess, from what I understand, took place during. And it wasn't classified information. So this was not classified. Now, if it's classified information, it's probably a little bit different. But I always say you have to learn from every experience. I think it was very unfair the way they attacked Michael. He's a good person. The person that was on just happens to be a sleazebag, so maybe that's just coincidence. I don't know.
But you
Donald Trump, everybody. President Trump commenting there, among other things, in the White House cabinet meeting that was taking place. And just before this, we didn't have this on this particular part that we queued up, but here's an interesting development that took place a little bit earlier today that I think is worthy of mentioning.
Next, sir, we have a presidential memorandum for your attention. This memorandum requires the immediate declassification of all FBI files relating to the Crossfire hurricane investigation. This was obviously one of the instances of the weaponization of law enforcement powers of prosecution against you and others. We believe that it's long past time for the American people to have a full and complete understanding of what exactly is in those files.
Which gives the media the right to go in and check it. You probably won't bother because you're not going to like what you see. But this was total weaponization. It's a disgrace. It should never happen in this country. But now you'll be able to see for yourselves, all declassified.
So he signs this at this cabinet meeting, and of course Will Scharf over the shoulder with the memes where it says narrator. That's Will Scharf. We didn't know that until now, but Will Scharf is the narrator of the Trump administration. It's fantastic. Crossfire hurricane documents going to be made public. And it is sad. Trump is exactly right. You're going to have a bunch of people on the right, influencers on the right, who will take the time, because it's beneficial to them, and I'm not knocking that at all, to dig through and expose things that are in Crossfire hurricane. And the left will just pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, he's exactly right.
Yeah.
Thank
probably
you,
won't
President
bother.
Trump.
All right, let's take a quick break. The YouTube live chat poll right now. What should happen after the high-profile info breach on Signal? You just heard President Trump there with great confidence in Mike Waltz. Is this Moana?
I think it is.
Okay.
Good timing.
It is always the right time. I was talking about security breaches with Signal. Moana, you just do your thing. Go on. Nothing is no big deal. Admission and apology are firings and resignations. Did Carl have something to do with picking music today?
I don't know.
I'm putting this one on Carl Middleman of the morning show.
No, I think this was Ethan. Ethan really had some smirks earlier.
I think that the least he could have done is put this at 12:45.
He didn't. He put that other one. It was
Let's talk about
Rising
Snow White
Star.
when we come back,
Okay.
huh? That makes everybody happy. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
There's no telling where I'll go.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
All right. Sorry, kids. I know you were singing along there, and I don't blame you. I would be too. Let's talk about bugs instead. This is for the boys in the. This is for the boys in the
Yay!
band.
Finally, let's talk about bugs.
And killing them.
Yeah, killing.
Killing bugs.
Killing bugs.
Killing bugs. Point Pest Control, the people I go to make sure that there are no bugs in our house. It's ant season. Of course, you're going to see those ants creep in as the weather gets warmer. They're trying to make it nice and cozy home in your house. Don't let them do that. Call Point Pest Control. Also, termites. Oh, my, you do not want to encounter termites in your house. It's an immediate brace yourself for impact kind of a situation. You call Point Pest Control right away, and you can take care of that problem swiftly. 636-798-0023. 636-798-0023. Point Pest Control wants to help you out with that problem right away. You can trust them in your home. I am a quarterly plan subscriber, happy to be a paying customer of Point Pest Control so that I can make sure that my home is, in fact, bug-free. 636-798-0023, serving both sides of the river. Reach out to Point Pest Control to make sure that your home is comfortable for you to live in and not for bugs to live in. Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-335-2299. That's 800-335-2299.
Baseball is all about stepping up to the plate when it matters most. And when you've been injured, you need a heavy hitter in your corner. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. you can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code QUOTE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code QUOTE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code QUOTE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
If you use a smart speaker, you can listen to 97.1 easier than ever. Just tell it to play 97.1 FM Talk. Or download the Odyssey app for your phone and stream the station whenever, wherever. This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Welcome back. YouTube live chat poll for today is about the signal exchange and how bad it is. What should happen after the high-profile info breach on Signal? You got three choices. Nothing, it's no big deal. You want an admission or apology. And lastly, firings and resignation. So let us know what you think on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll give you the results to that. Are we all three admission and an apology?
Yeah.
That's what we're clicking.
With leans.
You lean, it's no big deal, and
I
Brad
lean toward
leans
nothing.
firing and resignations.
Yeah.
We are looking forward to seeing how your results shake out on this. So join us on the YouTube channel and vote and tell us what you think. All right. I feel like there's a little bit of information that's needed as we talk about this next subject here. Of course, Jasmine Crockett. Can't forget the Jasmine Crockett. She's born and raised St. Louis, Missouri.
I just know she went to school here. I don't know
private
if she
school,
was born.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
She got a filthy mouth.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know.
Nobody ever mentions that.
I think a lot of Republicans do.
Nobody I know.
I did.
Now I know.
She's got this really kind of I'm just gonna say she's got a filthy mouth. I'm not gonna say it in any other way that's gonna pin me down with anything other than saying she has a filthy mouth, and I'd like you to prove me wrong in that instance. And I'm gonna play a clip from her, and she's gonna say a word a couple times that we wouldn't normally use on this show. So kids, this is not a good word to use, and I'll tell you what I tell my kids. Just because you hear other people using it, you know whether you're supposed to use it or not. Sometimes we all fall a little short. Jasmine Crockett seems to be very comfortable using this type of language, but I want to set the stage for you a little bit here. Jasmine Crockett, darling of the left right now, she's out there and she likes to fight. She keeps telling you violence is kind of it's like a topic du jour for her right now. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, a lot of people are concerned about her rhetoric and the way she is talking about fighting back against this administration. For instance, this one, which is pretty graphic, I would say, against Ted Cruz.
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. You know, I think, and I love Colin, and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But, like, it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right? Like, there is no niceties with him. Like, at all. Like, you go clean off on him, right?
Of all the things she said there, I'm most offended by how frequently she says like and right. I hate it. I hate it. Also, children, since you and I are having a conversation right now, when you get of age to speak and to make a point, make your point, and at the end, don't beg for affirmation by going, right? Oh.
I've been deliberately not doing that. So I've started going left, left.
That's even dumber.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. So she's talking in fighting words.
Yeah.
About Ted Cruz. It's graphic.
And look, that could be metaphorical. But when you say it that many times, just clarify a little bit in the environment that we're in that you mean this verbally or whatever you meant.
So I think it's kind of gross. I wouldn't like it if I heard Republicans saying, we need to tear Kamala Harris apart. We need to rip her apart at the seams and make sure she can never speak again. I wouldn't. There's no part of me that hears that and is like, let's go, as the children say.
I think we need to rip that person's arms off and beat them with it verbally.
Completely non-violently, metaphorically. Come on.
We need to just hold them down and shave their head verbally.
It gets worse than that, though. And the reason why it gets extra worse is I've got a video up here on the Anti-Fry YouTube stream, so you can watch this, but of course you're going to be able to hear it. So there are people who cannot see the video right now. Just set the stage on what you see on the screen here with Jasmine Crockett at the podium before we hear what she has to say. How would you say where she is? What do we know about it?
Well, she's dressed in a very nice gown, it seems, standing up at a podium/lectern. And she is in front of an equal sign, which says next to it, Human Rights Campaign.
So I thought, let's just go to hrc.org, which is ironic that it's not Hillary Rodham Clinton. But anyway, hrc.org, and you go to the page that says Our Work. So, what does the Human Rights Campaign stand for? Fighting for our people. We're fighting again, folks, over at the Human Rights Campaign. But they're fighting for our people. They're specific about it. And it says, together we elected LGBTQ plus and pro-equality allies to office. Shifted the landscape for LGBTQ plus employees in the U.S. and around the globe. And made it safer for LGBTQ plus people to be out, proud and visible in schools, workplaces, and communities. But the fight is far from over. From mobilizing 62 plus million equality voters to turning the tide on anti-LGBTQ plus hate. We're focused on fighting for the liberation of all our people without exception and without leaving anybody behind.
So what I'm hearing is a lot of equality.
Equality.
Not equity. So that's good. I like equality. What about hate? They use that word
they
a lot, but they don't like it, right?
They're in a fight to end hate.
So
they hate hate.
They're
and
willing
love fighting.
to really go after hate by any means.
Yes. And they believe that the marginalized people of our country deserve warriors and an organization called the Human Rights Campaign to fight for them and to put them on equal footing.
Because they're talking about all humans have rights.
Mm-hmm. All of them.
Not just certain ones.
And they should be respected with dignity.
Yes.
And uphold their integrity.
And anybody who doesn't agree with that, they would pull out their fingernails metaphorically.
They would hate.
They would hate. Okay, they would hate
fight.
that. Yeah. Okay. But all humans.
We've inferred a little.
It's human rights. Basic human rights as endowed by their creator.
Crockett. That's what she's doing here, and she's there to be their representative. She's going to speak a little bit here about Governor Abbott of Texas. You know him.
Yes.
Paraplegic from age 26 because an oak tree fell on him while he was jogging.
And because we in these hot-ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot-ass mess, honey. So yes.
She just referred to wheelchair-bound paraplegic Governor of Texas as Hot Wheels.
Now, that's not what I was expecting from a speech at the Human Rights Campaign.
I should maybe look at a different page. Maybe I just didn't read the right
Maybe
one.
you actually were looking for HillaryRodhamClinton.com. HRC.
They're getting lazy in separating what they say in closed doors and discerning what the American public is still okay. You all right?
You nailed it. That's so funny because this is always behind closed doors.
They talk like this all the time.
Yes, and the filter's just getting a little loose.
The lefties, the wokesters, the people in the far left progressive, not your everyday Democrats, but the people who have picked up the crusade for the marginalized, have always disparaged the marginalized who don't think the way they did. It was never about the thing that they publicly advocate for, the marginalization of these people. They have created spaces and saying they take a demographic and they say, you are not being treated fairly and I will fight for you. Even by virtue of saying that, you're vocally saying, I am in a position to speak when you clearly aren't. So I'm going to speak on behalf of you, and I'm going to, what does the Human Rights Campaign say in big bold letters here? Fight for our people. Well, obviously, there's a delineated line of who gets to speak for the marginalized people and who can't speak because they're marginalized. And honestly, if all of those people became not marginalized anymore, none of this would be needed. I wonder how much money the Human Rights Campaign raises every year. I wonder where the money goes to places like, I have no idea. I do not know the answer to this question, but did Jasmine Crockett get paid or compensated to speak at this event? I don't know. I'd love to know if she did. But you're going to stand up at a podium with a backdrop that says Human Rights Campaign with little boxes with equal signs all over it. And you're going to, because you don't like the ideology, the politics of the governor in Texas, you are going to use his handicap against him. When if he thought the way that you want him to think, you would use the handicap against us. Do you see how hypocritical that is? Do you see how hateful these Human Rights Campaign activists are? Do you see how blind they are to common sense that says that when you stand at this podium and you make fun of disabled people for being disabled, not because you have an ideology difference, but because they're disabled, you made fun of a person because they get around in a chair and you have the blessing to get around with your legs. That's the type of person that Jasmine Crockett is. Don't dig any deeper than this. That's who Jasmine Crockett is, and the left loves her. That's who they are. It's just right out there in front of you. You don't have to dig. You don't have to do research. Just stop, shut your mouth, open your ears, and listen to the Democrats tell you who they are when they open their mouths. Because here you have it. If a Republican came out and called Tammy Duckworth, my senator, a veteran who has served, who happens to be in a wheelchair on the floor of the Senate, they have had to modify things so that she can serve. There are a bazillion things that I disagree with Tammy Duckworth about politically, but I never in a million years would look at Tammy Duckworth and criticize her for having served her country in a position that ends her up in a wheelchair. I can't even begin to think of what it would take for me in my heart and soul to come up with that type of criticism. And then, of course, secondarily and far, far, far apart from that primary reason to not do it because it's disgusting, but secondarily, if I criticize Tammy Duckworth because she was in a wheelchair, I would be done on the air, and I should be.
If a random House rep did it on the right, the left would go apoplectic, which you would expect. Maybe the right does on this one. We'll see. I don't know that this is going to live for a long time. We'll see. But if Marjorie Taylor Greene or somebody on the right came out and said that about Tammy Duckworth, which is very similar, you're right. I mean, that's a good example because it's so similar. They would get publicly chastised by their own House members and possibly censured in the House.
Fox News reports a GOP lawmaker is moving to have Representative Jasmine Crockett formally rebuked by the House of Representatives for appearing to mock Texas Governor Abbott's disability. Congressman Randy Weber of Texas, which I think is important, he's a Republican, Crockett's fellow delegation member told Fox News Digital he would introduce a censure resolution against the Democratic lawmaker imminently. Quote, the story of our great governor of Texas is one of unwavering resilience and perseverance. Meanwhile, the actions of Jasmine Crockett stooping to vile levels of discrimination and despicable political attacks are nothing short of reprehensible, Weber told Fox News Digital. He said the House should censure Crockett for the venomous rhetoric she spews as a representative of the Democratic Party. Quote, it's painfully obvious she was never taught a single thing about Texas class, as her behavior is a disgrace to everything Texas and the United States stands for. Crockett made the comments during an event held by the Human Rights Campaign over the weekend. I am 100% okay with this. She should be punished, and we should wait and see what kind of Democrats stand up to defend her.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is that's a Republican saying that, and that you expect that to happen. But if the Democrats come out and they say something about it, that's when you know, okay, good. This is the way this is supposed to go.
I am very sick and tired of the hypocrisy that exists from these people on the left. And you don't have to look much further than Black Lives Matter to see that. And I'll be the first to say, folks, I don't think it's the same thing in the United States of America. You don't live the same life as a black person as you do as a white person. I also don't think you live the same life in America as a man than you do as a woman. I think there are things that people see about you. It makes it a different experience. And the way that we can learn is to listen to one another. We can make a better society and a better community by being open-minded about the experiences of other people. But that's not to say that the experiences that a white man and a black woman or a black man and a white woman would have in this country, of course they're not going to be the same. But that doesn't mean that any of them are going to inherently always be bad. The fact that you have the ability to make something of your own experience is what makes America great. And what we've seen from entities, organizations like Black Lives Matter, is they see the opportunity for people who are actually hurting in society to prey upon those people as a pawn, a means to an end, and then to suck in what really turned out to be the majority, I think, is white liberal women. I cannot explain to you how many times I have encountered personally in my life or socially on media or whatever, the way that these white women look into their phones and record videos of themselves, and they are speaking for black people. They're speaking to white people for black people as some sort of liberators. Even the essence of thinking that you could put yourself in that place, you have elevated yourself above somebody else. You have determined that the structure of our society puts you on a rung that is above somebody else. That is disgusting and gross. To me, if you really believe in the upside downness of our society, if you think that race predicates everything, you can't keep putting white men in charge of this Democratic Party. You can't keep doing that. They got to sit down and shut up and wait for somebody else to show up and do the job. Why in the world would you have a white man be picked as the vice presidential candidate on this ticket if it's time for them to sit down and know their role? The hypocrisy top to bottom, Jasmine Crockett standing in front of the Human Rights Campaign's sign, calling a man who is in a wheelchair Hot Wheels because they politically disagree. She does not care about disabled people. Being disabled is on the table for Jasmine Crockett as something to be made fun of. And if she would call Jasmine Crockett that, if you are somebody who is bound into a wheelchair, or if you know somebody who is, as long as they think the right way, according to Jasmine Crockett, they're safe from her insults. That is hypocrisy and, ironically, hate. The thing that the Human Rights Campaign suggests that they're fighting against. Oh, look, we found one. She's on your stage, in front of your podium, speaking to your people. I'd be curious if she's doing it for $1. Let's take a quick break. We'll get to the YouTube live chat poll when we come back. Want to know how you feel about the aftermath of this high-profile info breach on Signal. We just heard President Trump earlier this hour saying he has full confidence in Mike Waltz. He's a great person, and that they'll get to the bottom of it. Do you think it's nothing? It's no big deal? Do you want an admission and an apology to correction? Or do you want firings and resignations? Let's find out what the Annie Fry Show audience thinks next on the Annie Fry Show.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube
and subscribe.
RulerFoods.com. Shop at Ruler Foods and save money on your grocery bill. That simple. RulerFoods.com. You can put the zip code in there and find one that is conveniently located near you. Maybe it's your place of business. Maybe it is home, church, something. You're going to find a Ruler Foods near you, both sides of the river. Ruler Foods is there to guide you through a very well-organized and clean grocery store. You can save on everything you put in your cart. You can save extra this week on bread or green seedless grapes, $1.69 a pound. Tyson boneless chicken breast, $2.99 a pound. Save on Powerade for the family as you're going out to play pickleball, or maybe you've got kids games and stuff. Those 20-ounce Powerades. Also, 17-ounce sparkling ice, just 88 cents each. That's way cheaper than the concession stand, I can confirm. Plus, Kroger Big K 12 packs, 3 for $10. Save on your grocery bill at rulerfoods.com. You can learn more about it there. You can also even schedule to have those savings shipped directly to your door. All the details at rulerfoods.com.
And a lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, I'm usually much more active, but since I've been in pain, I've had to limit the activities I'm doing.
You're listening to Janelle, an arch support specialist at the Good Feet store.
So he came in and he wanted to be able to keep up, play sports with his kids. And from there, we figure out which arch supports complement those activities. I fit him with the arch supports, and as I followed up with him, he's messaged me and said, I took my kids to the park today. We're walking, we're exercising, riding the bikes, and those are all things that he wasn't doing before because he was in pain.
For over 25 years, the Good Feet store's arch support specialists have been helping folks to live the life they love without foot, knee, hip, or back pain getting in the way.
Our goal is to have that long-term change for them. That's what's most important, is knowing that you leave an impact on someone's life. And I like that.
Try them for yourself. Stop in for a free personalized fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at $119 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning package. Visit ZeroResSTL.com today and tell me what the 97.1 FM Talk Mark Reardon special.
We're about to get the results of today's YouTube live chat poll, but you still have time to vote in it if you'd like to make your voice heard. What should happen after the high-profile info breach on Signal? Nothing. It's no big deal. Admission and apology is your second option, or firings and resignations is the third option. That's the YouTube live chat poll, and you can vote and leave a comment. $2.50. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Well, since my baby left me, well, I found a new place to dwell. Well, it's down at the end of Lonely Street, that Heartbreak Hotel.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
For broken-hearted lovers to cry there in the gloom. Be so, I'll make you so lonely, baby. I'll make you so lonely.
Did you see the Lilo and Stitch live action remake?
Oh, man, did I ever? No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Jerk. I was excited.
There's a live action remake movie of Lilo and Stitch.
It's not out yet, or it's out?
It's coming out May 23rd. It's like a Memorial Day release.
Is this going to tap out? I mean, are we going to get to the end of these at some point where they just keep making live action remakes?
Best live action preview I've ever seen.
So it looks good.
It looks good. And I don't like I would say don't do the live action thing.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't have that great of an affinity for the original Disney movies, so it's probably lost on me anyway.
Have you seen Lilo and Stitch?
No.
Brad?
Lilo and Stitch is awesome. I love Lilo and Stitch. It's so good.
Thanks,
it makes
Brad.
me. I mean, it strikes the right emotional tone, and it's funny.
When it came out, I said I'm going to wait for the live action.
That's not true. They weren't doing live actions when Lilo and Stitch came out. I never watched it when it originally came out, but watched it in our what we would refer to as Disney research before we would go to the parks and saw it, and I thought it was a really cute, good story. The live action, I would encourage you to go see, go find the preview, the premiere, whatever it is, on YouTube and watch it. I wanted to, before we get to the results of the YouTube live chat poll, we gotta just dip in. Snow White is still, this remake live thing is not going well.
It's
for
a
Disney.
travesty.
And it's wonderful.
Well, okay. I mean, for Disney.
And I'll just remind you that they changed the story for the remake, and they wanted to cut out the love story because I don't need no man. That's, remember when Snow White said that?
Mm-hmm. I don't remember that verbatim.
She didn't.
She actually sang about the opposite.
Yeah. When will my prince come? Or something like that. Just a reminder that the reason why Snow White is bombing so incredibly bad isn't really because of the quality of the actual movie that they put out. It's because they hired this girl.
I'm a narcissist. Original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Okay.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. And then it became like, I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part. That people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie, Andrew Burnap. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. I say, if I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online. And we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
That's why people aren't watching Snow White. That is a mentality and an ideology that Americans are not subscribing to. That is what Disney needs to wake up to, and I'm pretty sure that the number one color that they see is green, and they're not seeing enough of it with the Snow White remake. I think they know what they got themselves into at this point in the game. So it's like just punch your way through this and get to the other side. But learn your gosh darn lesson, Disney. And you want to hire her because you think she's the best actress for Snow White. A lot of people are like, she's not white enough. If she were telling the story of Snow White and not out there trashing the original full-length animated film. It was the first one Walt Disney got made fun of top to bottom for thinking that people would sit down and watch a full-length animated film. Now look what he's built. And they're trying to crap all over it with these. She says it in the first clip of that montage. I'm a narcissist. Yeah, you are. And I hope you get what you deserve. An absolute failure and a flop. And I hope that she hurts her career going forward, that the only movies she gets to be in are ones that super left wokies want to watch, and she can say whatever she wants without tanking the actual project.
It's funny you say that because that was my advice. If you're a viewer and you are a Rachel Ziegler fan, I encourage you to go see Snow White because it's the last movie you'll ever see Rachel Ziegler. She might have a career in the sort of wake of woke somehow, like you said, like in some sort of indie fashion, but she's not going to carry movies. She did it to herself.
It's not. I'm not even saying that I love the story. I don't know when I will ever see this movie. I'm certainly not going to pay any extra money to see it because of her. Not because Disney changed the story. It's because of Rachel Ziegler. Because you seem to be very, very awful and miserable about your view on life. And that is not why I send my children. What she just said there is not why I send my children to the movies, to watch a nice story.
Yeah, and the visuals of that movie, I'll say it, I've said it about other ones too. Barbie was the same. The visuals are amazing. I mean, the stuff, the money they put into that movie.
I do recommend watching Barbie. I've told this story before, and I can maybe bring it up again. I sobbed watching Barbie the first time. I watched it by myself, laying in bed on my phone because I was sick.
Wow.
And I sobbed. And I'm not a movie crier.
Well, then watch this one and sob.
I will, but it'll be different. Anyway, YouTube live chat poll. What should happen after the high-profile info breach on Signal? The three of us in here said admission and apology. Ryan was hedging towards nothing, it's no big deal. 20% agree with the nothing, it's no big deal. And firings and resignations, 19%. 61% admission and apology. And you guys basically split it down the middle.
20-60.
It's amazing. All right, thanks for being with us today. Don't go away. Mark Reardon, coming up next.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid residents in need of care at home. If you need assistance with daily activities, you can receive in-home care from a loved one that lives with you and they get paid. Through Medicaid with no cost to you, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care at home in St. Louis and they get paid instantly. This is 100% free to you. Call now to check your eligibility. It can be your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need and your caregiver gets paid instantly. Freedom Care has over 7,000 five-star Google reviews and is a leading choice in St. Louis for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's free to you through Medicaid, go to freedomcare.com or call 314-597-1749, 314-597-1749, 314-597-1749.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, March 25th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and worried about market volatility and losses at this stage in your life? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you are 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you are 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, Tuesday, March 25th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. But our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
They don't know yet how it happened. Lisa Brady, Fox News. That bottom line at the White House, where National Security Advisor Mike Waltz just told reporters this about a journalist ending up in a sensitive group chat on U.S. military strikes in Yemen.
This one in particular, I've never met, don't know, never communicated with, and we are looking into and reviewing how the heck he got into this room.
The chat was on Signal, which is considered a secure messaging system, but not a classified system.
This was not classified. Now, if it's classified information, it's probably a little bit different. But I always say you have to learn from every experience. I think it was very unfair the way they attacked Michael. He's a